and I were at the Lee practice session last week. They seemed loose, a little looser than what I thought they were going to be.
Very, very relaxed, Mike. You know, I think part of it may be kind of the El Paso syndrome. Of course, the Rebels have done well against El Paso schools in the past. They played Andress earlier this year and beat Andress 17-0. Wasn't exactly a win that the Rebels liked. They thought they should have won by more, but both of these teams have changed a lot since then, so this ought to be a very interesting ball game out here this afternoon.
That seems to be the problem that some of the players and possibly some of the coaches seem to be thinking about, is that a little bit of overconfidence may be running through this team. Did you get any feel for that they were a little overconfident coming into today's game?
I think there's a lot of confidence in this ball club. They're playing real well. They're getting better every week, but obviously in the playoffs, as any player and any coach will tell you, that if you don't play up to your capabilities and play well on any given week, you can get beat. So I'm sure the Rebels have that thought in the back of their minds as well as we enter this ball game.
Well, Arthur Donnelly getting ready to get this ball game out of the way. And speaking of Arthur Donnelly, what a ball player, what a kicker.
He certainly is. He's had some interest from a couple of Southwest Conference schools, gotten mail from Texas A&M, and other schools, and he has certainly done a fine job for the Lee Rebels this season, and I'm sure he's going to be going on playing some college ball somewhere.
Everybody's ready for this 5A playoff football action. We're about to get underway as Arthur Donnelly approaches the ball, and there's the kick. It's a low line drive, takes a bounce, it's touched. Now they don't know who wants it. Number 33 for the Eagles makes it back up to the 20-yard line. Make that the number 23. Robert Jones, a senior for the El Paso Eagles. 1st and 10 for the El Paso Eagles from their own, we'll call it the 21-yard line. Quarterback Sal Sanchez brings his Eagles up the line. Hand off up the middle, try to run up that middle for the Eagles against the Lee Rebels, Ray Mickens. He is a 155-pound junior. He is officially as a halfback for the Eagles. Not known as a passing team, Doug.
Not really. They haven't had a lot of success throwing the football. One thing I do want to mention, Benny Jones, the middle linebacker for Lee, last few weeks he is in the lineup.
Sal Sanchez, the quarterback, once again, play fake. He's back to throw the ball and throws it way over the head of everyone. And intended receiver Ray Belvin, a 200-pound junior, Jason Seaver, in on the coverage also. But the ball was way overthrown. And just as we talk about them not being a passing team, they come right out and pass the ball.
Well, it's the same syndrome we had last week, you know, with Paladuro. Both teams decided to throw the ball early and try to throw the other one off. Maybe a case of deja vu here early on.
Sanchez now in a passing situation, 3rd down and 10. Man split wide to the left. He's looking. He fires and through the hands of the intended receiver, Mike Berryhill. He has a very catchable ball. That brings up a 4th down situation for the Eagles. Ty Chambers goes back deep for the Lee Rebels. And back to punt for the Eagles is number 1, Steve Guadardo. 130 pounds. He is a freshman. Kicking for the Eagles. Good, high, long kick. Chambers at his own 35-yard line. Cuts to the right. Now back up the middle. He's got some running room. One more. Good block. Something that they just couldn't do last week was run those balls back on the punts.
That time Ty Chambers found the holes. 39-yard return that time for Ty Chambers. And Chambers simply weaved through traffic, broke about 3 or 4 tackles, and gets the yardage, and the Lee Rebels are definitely in business right here, standing on the Andress 26-yard line.
1st and 10, the backfield for the Lee Rebels. At quarterback, Vince Henderson, Dirk Kubicek at fullback, Ferris Strambler, very well-known name in high school football in this area, and B.J. Parrish, the flanker. Handoff, Strambler straight up the middle, good running room. Last 6-7 yards on the play. Second down.
Do want to mention one change on that defense for Andress at the linebacker spot. It's Gilbert Ramirez starting at one linebacker slot. He's a 220-pound sophomore, wears jersey number 65 in place of Gilbert Ramos.
They give him 8 yards on the play. Second down and 2. Same setup. Handoff, Stammer up the middle. He gets the first down and a couple more as he crosses the 15-yard line. Brought down by Ray Mickens. They spot the ball at about the 14-yard line, so first down and 10 for the Eagles, or rather for the Rebels from the Eagle 14-yard line. 10-10 left to go, first quarter of play. Get a good shot there, Vince Henderson, as once again he hands off to Strammer to the right side. A little different than what they did last week, Doug, when they come out throwing the ball.
Well, I think maybe they learned their lesson after last week. Rebels obviously going with the bread and butter. They are in very good field position here, so I imagine Van Tom Watley feeling just a little more comfortable running the football here early on in this football game.
Second down, and we'll call it 6 yards from the 10-yard line, rather, for the Lee Rebels. Vince Henderson, quarterback. Pitchback, fumbled on the play. Recovered by the Lee Rebels. Henderson recovering the fumble. I believe it was pitchback to whom we don't know. There was two people back there.
Just a bad pitch.
Stramler and Kubitschek was there, but neither one of them knew who the ball was coming to.
Looked like it was kind of a busted play. Their mix-up in signals here, and obviously brings up a big third down play for the Rebels.
Lost about 4 yards on the play. This will be third down and 11 for the Rebels. Pitch back to Stramler. And he goes nowhere. Good play there by Ray Mickens of the Eagles. So fourth down situation. Do you go for the field goal?
Looks like Art Donnelly is going to come onto the field. He is going to go for the field goal right here. Obviously take the points, get the 3. The wind a little bit of a factor here today, and Art Donnelly's booted some nice field goals this year. His longest is 47 yards this season. So Donnelly does have the leg. One of his goals, he says, is to kick one for 50 yards. That's one of his goals. Actually, his second goal is we have a timeout called by the Rebels right here. But getting back to my point, Mike, he would also like to kick one to win a ball game. I mean, some kickers, obviously kickers like that kind of pressure, and Arthur Donnelly would like to see that before this season's over. Obviously, he'd like to see victories as well for his Rebels.
He has a few records, as you say, for the Lee Rebels. He has set a single season field goal record of 9 so far this year. And his goal leader, and with 13, and he owns the school's career record of 150 points so far this year.
No doubt about it. Arthur Donnelly's got a great right leg.
We'll give you the referees for today's game. 3 of them from El Paso, 1 from San Angelo, or 2 rather from San Angelo, and 1 of them from this Prairie Basin area from Kermit. And we'll give you their names here in just a few minutes and who's doing what. Arthur Donnelly ready to kick field goal from the 24-yard line. The kick is up, and it's no good. It's off to the right. Oh, my.
Wynn just grabbed that football and just took it off to the right side, but kind of hurts to see the Rebels lose 3 points there that way, but the defense is playing well, and I'm sure they'll be heard from before this day is over as Andress gets the football back one more time. Andress getting a big break, I think.
Meteorologist Joe Loria, Channel 7, told us temperature game time 77 degrees. The wind west at 18, gusting to 25 miles per hour, so wind may be a factor in this ballgame, as we can already see. Sal Sanchez, quarterback, handoff straight up to the middle. Ducks his head at about the 30-yard line and gets a couple more yards out of it. Jason Seaver in on the tackle. So it was enough for a first down, so first down and 10 for the Eagles from their own 32-yard line. That front line for Andress at center, Wally Terezis. Am I saying his name right?
I think you are, yes.
Terezis, 210 pounds. And 200 pounds on the right side of him at guard at Brian Tambone. We'll give you the rest after this play. Full house backfield in the wishbone. Sanchez. And nowhere to go. Number 25. Percy Davis, the ball carrier for the Eagles, and he has stopped maybe for about a yard loss.
Percy Davis in on the on the run there. There's Benny Jones. We told you about him earlier. He had the ankle injury after the Paladuro game last week. He went back into the game, so we didn't even know that he was out, but he gutted it out, and he's in there again today. Says the ankle's doing pretty good when we talked to him earlier this week.
Sanchez, quarterback, play fake. He rolls to his left. He's looking. He fires long. Man wide open. He just overthrew him. Ball intended for Mike Berryhill. He had a couple of steps on Scott Lucky, 170-pound senior.
Scott with an interception in the meeting earlier this year between these two ball clubs, Mike, is Scotty right around this territory picked off a football and it set up a lead score at that point.
El Paso Andress have won their last 8 straight. Their last, little trivia here. You know who they lost to last?
They lost to Midland Lee last.
Midland Lee. 3rd down and 10 from the 32-yard line for the Eagles. A mix-up in the defense for the Rebels, but it's still nowhere to go for the Eagles, as when the ball was snapped, the lead defense was still running, trying to get into position. Percy Davis, the ball carrier. Be a 4th down and 8.
Rebels getting a break right there. As you said, they were kind of scuttling around on defense, figuring out who's going to go where, but Rebels defense does the job, and Andress will have to punt this one away.
Steve Guardardo, the punter. Ty Chambers back to receive the punt. The short punt, fair catch called at the 32-yard line by Chambers. Chambers a little upset at himself. He kind of wanted to run that one, see if he could better himself than last time.
You can see that clearly on our cameras. Nice camera work for our people. They're haul on to victory. So say the Rebels here on this Saturday afternoon. It's just as we've said earlier, it's a beautiful day out here, and I think we're kind of fortunate to have nice weather like this this late in the season.
We're off that front line real quick of the Lee Rebels. These gentlemen usually don't get their name called off too much. Justin Perkins at left tackle, 220 pounds. Matt Wilson, 240 pounds at left guard. K.C. Jones, the center. Brandon Rayburn, the right guard, 220. And Chris Tosh, 170 pounds. And Strambler takes the ball. He's running around to his left. Gets across the 50-yard line where he's finally shoved out of bounds by Ray Mickens and Mike Chappell, also in on the tackle. Be interesting to find out what Strambler's numbers are, as he had racked up 298 yards last week against Amarillo Paladuro.
I'm sorry, last time against El Paso Andress, Ferris Strambler had 236 yards rushing. He is now the leading rusher in the state amongst 5A schools, 2,301 yards coming in.
High formation behind Vince Henderson. Handoff. Oh, handoff. First man through, Dirk Kubicek. And he has hit immediately after about 2 yards on the gain. He is just nailed at about the 48-yard line.
Some empty seats here at Midland Memorial Stadium. Not a lot of people from El Paso making the trip here with the holiday weekend. You might be able to understand why.
Turkey Day. Did you have a good Turkey Day?
Had a very good Turkey Day. How about yourself?
Still having it.
Yeah.
Leftovers is what they call it.
It's sitting in my stomach, believe me.
Play fake. Now he throws it over the middle and broken up. Good breakup. Ray Mitkins. Ball intended for Dirk Kubicek. Play fake up the middle, and Ray Mitkins was there. Some of the Lee fans thinking interference might be in order.
That was very, very close. Both guys are going for the ball, and that seemed like a pretty good call there. Oddly enough, 2 number 20s going at it on that particular play.
Quickly, your officiating referee, Tom Rogers from El Paso. The umpire is Jack Lieber from San Angelo. Linesman Vernon Wood, a Kermit judge. Gary Reeves of El Paso, and the back judge Bill Flynn of San Angelo. Henderson back to pass. Dumps it off to left side to Strambler. Strambler gets one good block, and then he just dives. He may have enough for a first down. I believe he does, as he got across the 40.
That was a nice play by Ferris Strambler. Just fought his way to get the first down yardage. Ferris Strambler, of course, a fine runner. We all know that. But he also can catch the ball as well. He's caught 3 balls this year for 29 yards, no touchdowns. But when he does catch the ball, something does happen, just like when Ferris runs the ball. You know something about Ferris Strambler also, Mike? Ferris was not always a big guy. When he was little in junior high, there were some bigger guys around him, but he made himself into a football player.
Henderson brings his Rebels up the line, 40-yard line, first down at 10. He's looking to fire left. He's got a man wide open, and he dropped immediately upon catching the ball. John Valles receiving the ball from Vince Henderson. It's good for about an 8-yard gain. So we call it second down and 2. Well, they make it a lot shorter. Make it 7 yards on the gain.
Little note about John Valles, Mike. He has a 30-yard catch average coming into this ball game. So when he catches the ball, usually something does happen.
Henderson splits one man wide to the left and to the right. Pitch back, Strambler. Strambler gets the first down and some more and just keeps fighting his way. Ferris Strambler, what more can you say about Ferris Strambler?
Ferris Strambler got a lot of help on that time from his buddy handing the ball to him, Vince Henderson. Henderson took out 2 guys on that play, and that allowed Ferris Strambler to get around to the, make him turn the corner, and he did get the yardage, and obviously he has the first down here. You know, quarterbacks are not known, they're usually known more for throwing the football, obviously, than they are passing, as you see the Rebels sideline right there.
Couldn't quite make out what was on that gentleman's shirt. Looked like I had some sort of an open there. Play fake. No, he does hand off up to the middle. That was a good fake on Henderson's part. Strambler gets back up to the line of scrimmage and about a yard at the 20-yard line. So it'll be second down and a long 9.
Just want to point out that was Jake Young on the sideline there for, of course, he used to play for these Lee Rebels, the Nebraska Cornhusker. He was named to the Walter Camp All-American team just the other day, the Kodak All-American team last weekend. Jake, a very fine football player for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, a starting center, in fact.
Pitch back, Strambler. Strambler gets to the 10-yard line, fights his way to the 5-yard line. First down and goal to go for the 5-yard line for the Lee Rebels.
And when Jake Young played at Lee, he had some great running backs behind him, but probably none quite as good as Ferris Strambler. Ferris Strambler obviously is quite a running back, and what more can you say?
Well, back in 1984, when Lee played the Eagles once again for by district, there was a pretty good running back by the name of Tyrone Thurman.
The little guy.
The little guy. Up the middle, number 24. Mantry Dedrick, the ball carrier, gets up to about the 2-yard line.
Nice carry there by Mantry.
At the 1-yard line.
Just going to say, nice carry there by Mantry. He looked like he was pretty well stopped at the line, but some nice second effort. Got his way through there. The play coming in right here for the Rebels. Bringing it in is John Valles, the senior. Jason Seaver and John Valles alternating in there, bringing in the plays from Van Tom Watley.
1 yard to go for the Lee Rebels for a touchdown. As Henderson keeps himself, touchdown, Lee Rebels.
Just a simple dive right there for the Lee Rebels. Vince Henderson scoring, and there's one of those offensive linemen that make things happen for the Rebels.
Well, if you're an Eagle, you're looking for Strambler over the middle or anywhere. But you keep it, you give it to let Henderson keep it and just straight up the middle.
I was just going to say, Vince Henderson, a pretty good runner himself.
Statistician Les Blaylock has Ferris Strambler at 8 carries and 59 yards so far in this first quarter of play. Arthur Donnelly in for the point after. Snap, kick, and this was good. 3:18 left to go, first quarter of play with our score, the Midland Lee Rebels 7. The Eagles nothing. We'll be back right after this.
Wrap it up early for best selection at Swain's Department Store in downtown Pecos, featuring the finest in men's, young men's, missy, and junior fashions. In the ladies' department, separates range from casual to the after 5, including names like Bonnie Boer, Birch Brothers, Bonnie and Bill, Donovan Galvani, Peter Popovich, Janera, and Michelle Sport. Dresses include Tune, Sabino, Go Vicky, and Amato. Free gift wrap and expert alterations. Swaim's Department Store, downtown Pecos.
Cars aren't cheap, never have been. That's why I never take shortcuts with cheap oil and air filters. Give me AC filters every time. AC filters match the original specs on my cars like a nut on a bolt.
Precision AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
Keep your car running the way it was made to run.
Here's a great gift idea from Red Wing.
Ladies, buy your man a pair of Red Wings for Christmas. I am.
Red Wing Shoes, 412 Andrews Highway in Midland.
If you think someone you love can beat alcohol abuse all by themselves, you're dreaming. But you can beat the nightmare with help. Call Clearview Hospital and talk to someone who knows where you're headed.
If your husband or wife had an affair and your marriage is falling apart, I want you to call this number, 1-800-446-7724. We want to hear from couples who cheated on their spouse and why did the affair begin and how your mate found out. Couples facing infidelity, call 1-800-446-7724. Now.
Welcome back to Midland Memorial Stadium. Arthur Donnelly getting the ball into the way. The Rebels just scoring 7-0 on top of the El Paso Eagles. Ray Mickens, the ball carrier. A little excitement for the El Paso Eagles on the far side as he gets up to about their own 47-yard line. 33-yard run.
Nice run there by Ray Mickens, and that puts Andress in some pretty good field position here. Obviously, they're not going to lay down and die in this ball game. Andress coming in at 9-2 overall and winning 8 straight. Not too shabby.
We'll give you the lead scoring play in just a moment after this play. High formation behind Sal Sanchez. The Eagle quarterback, play fake up the middle, looking to throw the ball, fires to Ray Mickens. Mickens gets about 3 yards on the play, so we'll call it second down and a long 7. That scoring play for the Lee Rebels came at 3:18 to go in the first quarter. Was 10 plays for 68 yards, and it took 3 minutes and 39 seconds off the clock with a Vince Henderson 1-yard run. Sanchez, quarterback. Handoff. Ooh, man's hit immediately. Number 23, Robert Jr. for the Eagles. They're getting a couple yards every time, but they're hard-fought yards.
They sure are against that Lee defense. You know, Andress shuttling a lot of different people in and out of there in the backfield. They've had some problems in their backfield this year. They were expecting big things out of a guy by the name of Tyrus Doctor, but Doctor got hurt early in the season, really hasn't been the same since. They've tried a lot of different people in the backfield and have gotten not much in the way of yardage.
High formation behind Sanchez. Handoff straight up the middle. Good running room, some good blocking for Percy Davis. He gets the first down and some as he gets up close to the 40-yard line for the Eagles as they go without a huddle now.
Hurry up offense.
First down and 10 from the Rebel 40-yard line. Minute 50 left to go, first quarter of play. Fumbled on a play, and it looks like the Rebels have it, and they do. Enrico Columbus, as he comes up off the football, 180-pound senior.
Derek Turner also in there as well.
That comes with a minute 45 left to go, first quarter of play at the ball at the Rebels 42-yard line.
Sometimes with that hurry-up offense, Mike, you get a little bit hungry. There's Derek Turner on the sideline getting a rest right now. You got to be very happy with that particular play, but sometimes with that hurry-up offense, you hurry up too much.
Scrambler to the right. Gets a couple of yards. Second down and 8. One thing I don't want to forget is as John Bossy, our official, I guess you could call him, in the press box with us, tells us they add one more official to these playoff games, and he is official statistician, Jim Schur, and he is from El Paso, and his job is to keep first downs, penetrations, and total yardage in case this thing comes down into a tie. Two men split wide to the left. Anderson fires. Jason Seaver. He is brought down by John Joyner. He gets a first down as he gets up to the 42-yard line of the Eagles.
There you get a look at that Rebels bench. Pretty calm, pretty relaxed bench right now. Rebels looking pretty good so far in this ball game.
High formation behind Vince Henderson. One man split wide to the left and wide to the right. Play fake, fires over the middle, caught at the 27-yard line and brought down. Greg Rich, who caught a touchdown in last week's game against Peladuro, adds to his numbers. Do you see his brother back out here?
He wound up going back to school this last week. He's back at Air Force this week, I do believe.
It's a first down and 10 for the Lee Rebels at the Eagle 21-yard line. 35 seconds left to go, first quarter play. Delay handoff to Stambler. Nowhere to go. He tries left, and he's dropped for a loss. About a yard loss on the play, so it'll be second down and 11. Scallion, 180-pound senior, bringing him down.
Rebel crowd looking on contently this afternoon. Very patient crowd. Sure, with the holiday, some maybe a little smaller attendance than perhaps normal.
And in motion, handoff, Stambler. He goes to the right. Little running room, makes his own running room, and that is a Rebel touchdown.
That run, 21 yards, a very pretty run by Ferris Scrambler, breaking a couple of would-be tacklers and just finding the end zone, and Rebels taking definite control here on the last play of the first quarter.
Well, you know, Stambler gives a lot of credit to his lineman, which is deserved. But on that run, he made it himself. He was hit 2 or 3 times, just kept going.
Van Tom Watley talking with Stambler there on the far sideline, saying nice going. Ronnie Stevens over there as well, patting the guy on the back for a job well done. 22 yards officially on that run.
Arthur Donahue in to try. Snap, kick, it's up, and it's good. So that ends the first quarter of play. The Midland Lee Rebels on top of the El Paso Andress Eagles, 14-0. We'll be back with the second quarter right after this.
Nakona Patchwork Ostrich, an exclusive designer collection from Woods Boots. Nakona Ostrich, another Christmas idea from Woods Boots, located adjacent to the Permian Mall, now open Sundays through Christmas.
Woods Boots, the most walked about boots in Texas.
Urgent, urgent. We need your help now at Elmore Chrysler in Big Spring. Introducing the all-new 1990 Dodge Dakota Club Cab. With an extended cab, you have room for 5. And the Dodge Big 250 full-size pickup with more payload. You get more truck for the buck with the biggest ever sale on trucks from Dodge here at Elmore in Big Spring. Get up to a $1,500 rebate now. Remember, we're open till 9 o'clock tonight. Come on over to Elmore.
Elmore in Big Spring.
Everyone knows that Gulf stations are becoming Chevron. There are new, bright Chevron signs going up and new uniforms going on. Even though we have new signs, paint, and uniforms, we will be continuing with the high-quality Chevron products and friendly service we're accustomed to. Let's go get them. Yeah! Look, Dad, there's one uniform left.
Well.
You don't mean...
That's right. I'm E.E. Hinston, your son.
This is the brain activity of a normal 14-year-old. So is this, after smoking marijuana.
Joe and Pat Henderson want to remind all of us that as parents and teachers, we have a tremendous responsibility to educate our children to the dangers of drugs. Remember, you can't be a hit when you're high. Say yes to life and no to drugs. Joe and Pat Henderson, supporting the Rebels and our community.
Hello, I'm Dan Rather, CBS News, hoping you'll join us weekdays at 5:30 for the CBS Evening News, followed by Channel 7 News at 6 p.m. here on Channel 7, Odessa, Midland, KOSA TV.
Midland Memorial Stadium for the second quarter of play in this 5A playoff game between El Paso Andress Eagles and the Lee Rebels. As you see, the students section of the Lee Rebels, they've got quite a bit to cheer about so far. They're ahead 14-0, Doug.
So far with Ferris Strambler doing a lot of nifty running here this afternoon. They're watching a guy that a very rare type of commodity in high school football, a guy that's fast and pretty good size with Ferris Strambler, and Earl Miller there on the sidelines. Got to be very happy with what he's seen so far in this football game.
That last scoring drive was 5 plays, 58 yards. Took a minute and 45 seconds off the clock. Strambler with a 22-yard run. That, of course, that came with no time left on the clock. We get this second quarter underway. Arthur Donnelly to kick it off for the Rebels. Good kick as it goes into the end zone. And it's dropped, and it'll be down there. Automatic touchback. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line.
Let's look at some first quarter stats, Mike. Obviously, Lee dominating on the scoreboard. They're dominating in the stats so far. Lee outgaining Andress in the rushing department 88-23. In the passing department, 45 yards to 3. Lee with 100 on offense. El Paso with 26. Ferris Strambler, 10 carries, 82 yards. Vince Henderson, 4 of 5 passing. Andress, 1 of 4. Pretty dominant ball game.
Sal Sanchez on 20-yard line. Handoff to Ray Mickens as he gets about 5 yards, 4 yards on the play as they mark it now at the 24-yard line. Second down and 6 for the Eagles.
And if you're El Paso Andress right now, you got to get something going. You got to get some kind of sustained drive going in this football game. If you're Lee, you just want to keep on keeping on, doing the fine things that they're doing this afternoon.
Sanchez shows I formation behind him. Handoff, second man through, which is Mickens. Mickens gets about 2 yards as he crosses the 25 up to the 26-yard line. He is dropped by Dale Wall and Roy Malgoza. I'll have to apologize to the Malgoza family, as last week we called him Ray.
Well, it was listed as Ray in the program, so, and it's one of those little minor mix-up here. Cheerleaders have to be happy on the sideline.
He's also 240 pounds, so I will call him whatever he wants to be called.
Just don't call him late for dinner.
Just don't call him late for dinner. You're right. 10:50 left to go in the first half of play of this ball game. And Milkins has the ball, and he stopped, but he was able to get through. Ty Chambers finally brought him down. Number 24, Mantry Dedrick, had a hold of him first. Was able to slow him down, but not before he could get loose and get to the 30-yard line. So it'll be first down and 10, as they say they did get enough for the first down. So he got just across the 30-yard line. Good look there at Sanchez. Play fake. He's looking to fire the ball over, and it's caught and dropped. Good defensive play by the Lee Rebels. Ty Chambers in on the stop. Ball intended for Ray Belvin, a 200-pound junior.
Ty Chambers, a little guy, 160-pound senior. He and Vince Henderson last year both dueled at the quarterback position. They finally settled on that position. Ty got hurt earlier in the year, and now he's back playing well in the defensive secondary, just playing there.
Straight strut back, fires over the middle, intercepted and dropped. Oh, my, my, my. Randy Brown, he'll relive that one tonight.
That ball was right in the numbers, and Randy Brown, when he looks at the game film, is going to be very, very upset about dropping that football.
Derek Turner had great pressure on Sanchez to get rid of that ball. Is one reason why it was almost intercepted. But Mr. Brown will go back and relive that one in his dreams tonight. Third down rather, and 10. Straight back. Sanchez looking, can't find anyone. Now he's hit and dropped at the 30-yard line. Half a yard loss on the play. Benny Jones, a 180-pound senior, was there to stop him.
Benny Jones really the captain of this Lee defense. As you hear the Lee fans giving the Rebels defense a very fine hand. Benny Jones, I asked him about his favorite middle linebacker, the guy he tries to emulate the most. He says Mike Singletary of the Chicago Bears. Of course, Singletary played for the Baylor Bears as well. So a little bit of Bear action.
Steve Guazzardo back to punt. There's the kick. Ty Chambers waiting at about his own 30-yard line. It takes a Rebel bounce, rolls forward to about the 42-yard line. It's down at the 42-yard line by an Eagle. You get a good look at the Rebel band, which we will have at halftime. We'll be more than happy to bring you them. I believe it was, they come in, I won't be lying now, 9th place. I believe they took 9th at state a couple of weeks ago. But a fine band.
So far, the Lee Rebels have dominated this football game as we are early in the second quarter here at beautiful Midland Memorial Stadium. A beautiful day.
There's the Rebelettes. Handoff, Strandler back up to the middle. He's hit. And I'm about halfway afraid to say, Doug, because we played one full quarter. We've got clock counting down at 9:10 left to go in the second quarter. Haven't seen a flag yet.
Really unusual. Of course, playoff games sometimes are called a little tighter as you see the Rebel making his way through the stands. I like him.
Good, clean ball game so far. Vince Henderson, the quarterback. Stramber, just a power play to the right. He crosses the 50-yard line, gets up into Eagle territory at about the 49, where he's finally brought down by Mike Chappell.
Van Tom Watley sending in the play with Benny Jones right there. And obviously the Rebels in control. I would imagine Van Tom Watley, if I can read minds correctly, will give it to Ferris Strambler one more time.
3rd down and a short one. Of course, this is what they were looking for at the goal line a while ago. But they thought Strambler might have it, and Henderson kept it and went straight up the middle. High formation behind Henderson. Pitch back to Strambler. He's got the first down and some. Crosses the 30 bounds by Jason Belmont of the Eagles. First down and 10 for the Lee Rebels from the Eagle 35-yard line.
I think with a running back like Ferris Strambler, Mike, you and I could get rich being offensive coordinators. We could do the job. Not to put Van Tom Watley down. He does a very fine job with the Lee Rebels sending in plays and does a very fine job. And he's been, of course, with Lee now for several years.
It makes 106 yards so far for Strambler on 13 carries. Play fake up the middle. Henderson back to throw. Fires ball. Got a man open. And in and out of the hands of Greg Rich. 31 of the Eagles defending on the play, Mike Chappell. But Greg Rich, in all honesty, Doug, he should have had that ball, I think.
Another ball right on the numbers. Vince Henderson throwing the ball real well today, and it's just a couple of drops, and sometimes that happens.
4 left to go in the first half of play. With our score, the Lee Rebels on top, 14-0, 2nd down and 10 for the Rebels from the 35-yard line of the Eagles. Pitch back to Strambler. He rolls to his right. And he made before he finally brought down Larry Scallion. Doug, it looks to me like, if you'll notice sometimes when he pitches the ball back to Strambler, and it looks like to me he's getting ready to throw the ball. Have you ever noticed that?
Well, there have been a couple of times where Lee has that play in the playbook where they will do that little pitch, and he will throw the ball. It is a designed play, but we have yet to see that play here. They don't use it very much.
It would fake me out if they did, because I wouldn't expect Strambler, with a man that could run the way he does, to throw the ball. 3rd down and 10. Strambler gets across the 30-yard line. He gets about 5 yards on the play for Mac Smith, a 200-pound junior, brings him down for the Eagles. Clock running at 7:45 left to go, first half of play.
Rebs are going to try the field goal right here as Ty Chambers, the holder, and Arthur Donnelly come onto the field.
I think he's going to try it from about the 35-yard line.
Be a 45-yard field goal try if he can nail it. Certainly not out of his range.
There's a snap, kick, it's up. It's long enough, and it is good. 45 yards, 7:15 left to go first half play. Arthur Donnelly adds 3 more to the score with our score, 17 for the Rebels and nothing for the Eagles. We'll be back right after these messages.
Careful to make the right investments in business. We want to help you make the right investments in your golf game. Our Hogan Park Golf Shop staff are PGA professionals who teach the game and who regularly see you on the course. And most important, we're interested in helping you improve your golf game. We can make professional judgments on how to invest wisely and help you produce the lowest possible return, a lower golf score. So put your trust in us. Your PGA professionals with over 20 years experience at Hogan Park Golf Shop will help you invest your time and money wisely.
As long as people keep making kids, Elmore Chrysler in Big Spring keeps making great deals on Dodge Caravan and Plymouth Voyager. You're looking at the #1 and #2 selling minivans, and 1% of the total market drives either a Dodge Caravan or Plymouth Voyager. You can buy a Plymouth Voyager for as low as $13,788. What are you waiting for? Come on over to Elmore Chrysler. We're open till 9 o'clock tonight on the money-saving mile.
Elmore in Big Spring.
This is the brain activity of a normal 14-year-old. So is this, after smoking marijuana.
Joe and Pat Henderson want to remind all of us that as parents and teachers, we have a tremendous responsibility to educate our children to the dangers of drugs. Remember, you can't be a hit when you're high. Say yes to life and no to drugs. Joe and Pat Henderson, supporting the Rebels and our community.
Everyone knows that Gulf stations are becoming Chevron. There are new, bright Chevron signs going up and new uniforms going on. Even though we have new signs, paint, and uniforms, we will be continuing with the high-quality Chevron products and friendly service that our customers have become accustomed to. Let's go get them. Yeah! Look, Dad, there's one uniform left.
Well.
You don't mean...
That's right. I'm E. Henson, your son.
Welcome back to Midland Memorial Stadium. A good shot of the cheerleaders there with the Rebels on top, 17-0. They have something to cheer about. That last scoring drive took 7 plays, 58 yards, with 2 minutes and 10 seconds off the clock for a 45-yard field goal from Arthur Donnelly, who will put it back up into the air now for the Rebels. Good kick. Once again, drives the man back into the end zone. He's going to run it out 1 yard deep. Cuts to the right. And then slammed down at the 20-yard line. Doug, I think if I was him, going to get back to the 20, I think I'd just went on down 1 yard deep and let it come out by itself.
That wouldn't be a bad idea, especially with the way Art Donnelly kicks the football. Obviously kicking the ball well. He missed the one earlier in the ball game wide to the right, but he nailed this last one for 45 yards. Now it's going to be interesting to see what Andress comes out and does right here. Down 17-0. You can't try to get all the points back in one bunch here. You got to take it a little at a time.
7:08 left to go in the first half of play. Don't forget, be sure to stick around at halftime as we will bring you the Marching Lead Band. 17-0 is our score. First down and 10 for the Eagles. A pass off left. Another one that should have been caught. It should have been caught. Mike Berryhill. That's been 2 or 3. Scott Lucky defending on the play.
Rebels defensive secondary pretty busy so far. An interesting stat here. El Paso, Andress only 1 of 7 passing the football. It could easily be 3 or 4 of 7 if people hang on to the balls.
Neither team coming into this game was known as a passing team, with both of them with pretty good runners.
Alan Sepkowitz on the far side there.
Pass off to the left side, caught by number 5 for the Eagles. Tyrus Doctor. We didn't expect to see Mr. Doctor in this ballgame to understand he's hurt.
The doctor has made a house call, so to speak. I had to use that line, but anyway, Tyrus Doctor, he's the guy we told you about earlier that had the injury earlier in the season, really hadn't been too effective. There we see him in the backfield. Now we see him come out of the lineup. In there apparently for one play, and maybe he can go a few plays today.
We're going to have a measurement now. They call a referee timeout. See if there was enough for the first down.
An official timeout.
course, by the time this is on, Doug, we'll know. But what did he just say? Baylor 43?
I think he said 20. I thought he said 23-7.
He did say 43.
43.
Baylor 43-7 over Texas.
Texas has had a lot of problems. Of course, yesterday.
We can see. No, you can tell there by that shot, he was about a half a yard shy. So it'll be third down and a long one.
Just saying
earlier. A short one, rather.
Sorry, just saying earlier, Texas Longhorns now out of the bowl picture with Arkansas beating A&M.
They still have to play SMU.
That's right.
Sanchez, the quarterback, I formation. Handoff, first man through. And he got enough for the first down as he crossed the 30-yard line. That's what he had to do. First down and 10 for the Eagles. We'll call it the 31-yard line. 6:40 left to go. First half of play in this ball game. Sal Sanchez, the quarterback, drops straight back, fires to the right, caught and then dropped. Mike Berryhill caught the ball, then he was hit immediately by Scott Lucky. Don't know if Berryhill wishes he had caught that ball yet now or not.
Scott Lucky and Mike Berryhill are getting to know each other pretty well out there. It's been the last 3 times or so that Berryhill has tried to catch a football. Mr. Lucky is lucky on the spot.
5 yards on that passing play. Second down and 5 from the 35-yard line of the Eagles. Man in motion coming to the left. Handoff, second man through, which is Ray Mickens. Mickens gets up to the 40-yard line. He looks like he may be about a yard shy of the first down.
Andress not doing a very bad job moving the football here right now. They need, as I said, to get something going, something on the board before halftime if they are going to do anything here against the Rebels this afternoon. Big third down play here.
Inches to go. I don't know if he made it or not. Ball handed off to Ray Mickens again, and he gets up close to it. Benny Jones hit him. Didn't make it. I can see there where the spot's made. I think he has made the first down.
I'll tell you, the spot, when it come right down to it, can be so subjective sometimes. I mean, it just depends on obviously where the officials saw the ball cross, but...
Ask John Bossy, our official up here, is such thing as a left-footed or right-footed official? He says no. You can get some argument from us on that one. For the Eagles at 5:08 left to go first half of play. Play fake. Fires. He got a man wide open. Number 81. Jesse Abram, a senior.
Simple, kind of like a fly pattern there. Very simple play, and just Abram wide open there for a while.
There had to be a misassignment there somewhere. He was just too open there for the Lee Rebels.
He sure was.
First down and 10 from the 35. Mickens, the ball carrier, rolls to his right. Ty Chambers has got him and throws him out of bounds at almost the 30-yard line.
This is a nice little drive for El Paso Andress.
That should make him, what, about 2 for 8, I believe, now in the passing situation. They spot the ball right at the 30-yard line, so we'll call it second down and 4 for the Eagles.
4 for 10 in the passing department.
4 for 10. I was close. Statisticians on the other side of the room. I formation, man in motion coming to the left. And a fumble on the play, and it looks like the Rebels have it. Yes, they do. Falling on the ball is number 25, or 12 rather. Derek Turner recovering the fumble.
Just a bobbled handoff there. Percy Davis just couldn't quite get the handle on the football, and it fell right into the hands of Derek Turner. So a long drive is killed by the Rebels right here. 9-play drive, in fact, and did eat up some time on the clock, but you got to get the points if you're going to eat up the time on the clock.
I was talking to Athletic Director Jerry Millsaps from El Paso. He said this is a very good ball club. He said, but they've got to watch their mistakes. And this is showing. Once they get the ball going, they're doing well. Then they fumbled away. They fumbled away twice. Stramler to the right, cuts back to the left. He is hit by just about every person on that team before he's finally brought down at the 40-yard line. And it looks like from where the referee has his official has his foot, he's got a first down. And yes, he does.
Little player slowly getting up for El Paso right here. Number 21 for Larry Scallion, a little slow getting up. Now he started to get up, and now he's back down again. And there you see Scallion there being attended to by one of the Andress trainers.
As I was saying before, at the from talking to Jerry Millsaps, who used to coach at OHS, he is now the athletic director for El Paso, and Ariel Scallion, as you can see, running off the sidelines. But he said there's a lot of talent on this ball club, and as long as they keep the mistakes down, they've got a shot at winning this game. But as you can tell, the fumbles are going to eat them alive. They've had 2 of them so far, and they've lost both of them.
Midland skyline looking real good on this Saturday afternoon. Just a beautiful day here for football, unusually warm. We'll take it, right? Anytime, because cold weather's coming, believe me. High formation, directly behind Henderson. 2 men split wide to the left. Handoff, first man through, Dirk Kubicek, and he's hit for about a yard loss on the play, so call it down, second down, and a long, well, second down and 11. Isaiah Gordon, 185-pound senior from El Paso, in on the stop. He was there to greet Mr. Kubicek the minute he got the ball. Kind of an unusual set there on defense for Andress. I noticed they have two down linemen on each side, and there's a big gap in the middle, and you've got 2 linebackers there right filling up that gap, so it's about 5 yards off the line, so it's kind of an unusual set.
Kubicek goes in motion to the left. As Henderson now rolls, he's going to keep the ball. He's got Stramler blocking in front of him. Then he's finally hit as he crosses the 50-yard line. But he gets enough for the first down as he gets up to about the 48-yard line of the Eagles.
Vince Henderson, we said it earlier, he can run the football very, very well, and he did that time to obviously get the first down. We're running down time here in the first half. We're down to 3:45. Lead defense being talked to there by Earl Miller. Ty Chambers pointing something out to Earl. Earl says, nope, this is the way it is.
Henderson sends 2 men wide to the right. Handoff, Stramler up the middle. Running room, 1 man to beat. And there is a touchdown saving tackle by number 31, Mike Chappell.
You certainly don't hit Ferris Stramler high. If you hit him high, he's going to bounce right off you. You got to grab him in the legs, and that's exactly what Mike Chappell did right there. And if he didn't do that, Ferris Stramler would have found the end zone.
Good open field tackle. Ball sitting at about the 33-yard line of the Eagles. First down and 10. High formation directly behind Henderson. Fake up the middle. Henderson keeps it. He's rolling himself. He gets up to the 20-yard line. And, oh, he's tripped up. He could have only stayed on his feet as he dropped at about the 15-yard line. Ray Mickens tripped him up. That'll stop the clock as they bring the chains back up for another first down and 10 for the Rebels from the 15-yard line.
You know, Vince Henderson, the way he keeps running this football is we're going to have a timeout right here, but the way Vince Henderson's running the football...
He may catch Stramler in stats.
You think he may be looking like Ferris Stramler the way he's running the ball. 4 carries, 28 yards, not too shabby.
3:04 left to go, first half of play. Band's getting ready for their halftime show. We'll be bringing you the Midland Lee Rebel Band.
So far, a pretty dominant ball game here for the Lee Rebels in terms of the stats at this point. Total yardage, 219 yards for the Rebels, just 108 for Andress. Of course, the Rebels getting most of that yardage on the ground, 174 yards with Vince Henderson and Ferris Stramler doing the work here today. Ferris, I was just going to say Ferris with 139 yards on 17 carries. We already gave you the numbers on Vince Henderson. Just looking over at our stat board here.
As you are watching the playback of this game, most everyone is aware of when and where the next playoff game will take place. Even if you're not, you can count on seeing the Tate Relay broadcast of that game next weekend on KOSA TV Channel 7, your only station for complete coverage of the 5A high school playoff season. Gotta get that in real quick.
That's right. Producers get mad if we don't get that stuff in. It's not stuff. I shouldn't say stuff. It's very important material, information.
Go ahead. I'm going to let you go ahead and get deeper into this with our producer.
Your job's to bail me out of these situations.
3:04 left to go, first half of play. This 5A playoff ball game. Coach Jerry Millsaps on the far side. Very excited about coming here, having two teams come here, but he was saying once again that it seems like every time they do something halfway good, they've got to come and meet either Lee or Permian, and then that's where they stop every year. Says if they can ever get around Lee or Permian, they can go a little bit longer. Don't know how far they can go, but he said they always get killed when they meet Lee or Permian. I formation, we're back to play. Kubicek, the ball carrier. He gets about 4 yards before he's brought down by Jason Belmont and Max Smith. That's 200 pounds and 190 pounds, and you straight on.
400 pounds leaning into you will stop you in a hurry. Lee Band getting ready for their halftime performance out here this afternoon. I'm sure we're going to enjoy it very, very much.
They give him 4 yards on the play, so 2nd down and 6 from about the 13-yard line of the Eagles for the Lee Rebels. Scrambler, misdirection play as he gets up to about the 10-yard line. Haven't seen that one before, I don't believe.
No, we haven't. Ferris Scrambler, of course, most everything he's ran, he's done fairly well on, but not quite that time.
Now Henderson turned to the right, Scrambler went to the left. Then they were finally able to get with each other. But still, even if it was a busted play, he got about 3 yards on the play. So it'll be 3rd down and 4 for the Rebels from the 10-yard line. Pass to the right, and ooh. Jason Seaver was unable to hold on to the ball as number 86, Paul Dozier, 170-pound senior, met Seaver at the same time the ball got there.
Jason Seaver almost made himself a one-handed catch on that play, as it was almost an outstanding catch, but just got tipped at the last second there. Now we're going to have the field goal try by Arthur Donnelly.
4th down, and Coach Earl Miller decides we'll go with Arthur Donnelly's toe, so we can't put 3 more points up on the board. Snap, the hold, the kick gets up, and it is good. Minute 47 left to go in the first half of play. Arthur Donnelly puts 3 more on the board, but the Rebels on top of the Eagles now, 22-0.
Obviously a satisfied Lee sideline here in the early part of this ball game. Rebels slowly but surely gaining momentum in this game and getting more and more control, and wonder what's going to be said in the locker rooms at halftime of this ball game.
I think I'd want to be on the Rebel side.
I don't
know what if Earl Miller would have anything to say to him at this time or not. They'll just keep up the good work. That drive took 10 plays, 70 yards, took 3 minutes and 2 seconds off the clock. With a minute 49 left to go in the second quarter, a 27-yard field goal by Mr. Arthur Donnelly puts the Rebels on top, 22-0. There you get a good shot of the Rebel bench as they get ready to go in for halftime. Arthur Donnelly tees it up at the 40-yard line. The wind not much of a factor as we thought it was going to be. He got the ball, he's back into the end zone, and now it's an automatic touchback. The Eagles just haven't had much luck in running the balls back on the kicks and punts.
You know, it's got to be hard in a way in all defense, Mike, to see that ball when it gets up in the air today. There are no, well, I shouldn't say no clouds. There are very few clouds in the sky here today, almost a high sky, and it can be a little tricky seeing that football when there's no background to look up against other than bright blue. Ferris Scrambler getting a rest on the Lee sideline, a very well-deserved rest for Ferris Scrambler.
Sal Sanchez, the quarterback, brings his Eagles up to the line of scrimmage, 1st down and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Handoff up to the left side. Robert Jones, the ball carrier, 145-pound senior. Just a simple handoff straight up to the middle, and he cuts to the left. And he gets about 5 yards on play, so second down and 5 for the Eagles as the clock keeps on counting down. 1:20 left to go, first half of play.
Pretty quiet Memorial Stadium right now. Of course, the Rebels in command at this point.
Sanchez. Percy Davis, the ball carrier, as he gets about 3 yards on the play, so we'll call it third down and 2 for the Eagles.
Looks like the Eagles are going to try to, looks like they're going to run out this clock and count up their losses and go from there. Clock winding down now to 40 seconds left in the half.
Third down and a long one or short two, however you want to look at it. Wishbone, handoff, back up to the middle. They got enough for the first down as he crosses the 30, gets up to about the 32-yard line. Anton Green, the ball carrier. Roy Melgoza, and on the stop, first down and 10 for the Eagles from the 33-yard line. Sanchez drops back, fires just off the fingertips of Percy Davis. That stops the clock at 21 seconds. They have to go first half of play. Don't forget, we will have the Midland Lee Marching Band.
21 seconds. Hey, run 45, straight to the field.
Right now here at the stadium, the public address announcer, Bobby Dunn, recognizing some of the alumni here today. Jake Young among them.
Straight back, Sanchez fires down the middle, and 3 men on 1. The ball intended for Tyrus Doctor. It was thrown way over his head. That stops the clock at 15 seconds now left to go. It'll be third down and 10 for the Eagles from their own 32-yard line.
I want to remind everybody that coming up at the end of the ball game, we will have our offensive and defensive player of the game. We'll be picking those out at the end of the ball game today.
Maybe a little tough one today than it was last week. Sanchez straight back, fires over the right side, way over the head, and almost, oh yes, Scott Lucky, he's got the coach from the far side of the Eagles in a rampage as he...
Scott Lucky laid a hit on Tyrus Doctor that time. No call.
Sepkowitz is wanting interference called big time as he thought Lucky was there just a little early. Fourth down and 10 as they're now going to go for it with only 9 seconds left to go in the first half of play. Oh, now they are going to kick. Okay, I didn't see the kicker back. Steve Guardado. He gets the kick away. Ty Chambers called for fair catch at the 35-yard line. Kind of surprised he didn't go for it. Now there's 3 seconds left to go.
Rebels will have one more play here. Will they sit on it or will they go for more? This might be kind of interesting, I guess. The Rebel fans obviously happy, waving the old flags. Some of the special teamers coming off on the sideline right now. Offense coming onto the field.
Don't forget the Rebel band at halftime. First down and 10 for the Lee Rebels from their own 35-yard line.
Strambler in the tight end formation here.
Shotgun formation for the Rebels. We haven't seen that. There's the pass. Strambler's got it to the left at the 35, and he's got some running room as he gets down the sidelines and finally brought down, but that brings it to an end. The first half is over with from Midland Memorial Stadium. Don't forget, we will have our... Welcome back to Midland Memorial Stadium. Mike Snead along with Doug Strickland. We bring you the second half of this 5A playoff game. Midland Rebels on top, 20-0 over the El Paso Andress Eagles. And wasn't around for the stats, but it sounds like the Rebels have kind of dominated the stats.
They certainly did dominate the stats. They've dominated the scoreboard as well as the Rebels coming back on the field to start the third quarter of play. And just a pretty dominant ball game so far. I'm sure Earl Miller in the locker room just said, keep on keeping on, guys. And Alan Sepkowitz, the Andress coach, has got to be very concerned at this point about his Andress Eagles.
I had alluded to it earlier, Doug, about the run-through sign. That last week I had said that was a very good sign, said everything great about the sign, except who made the sign. I said the cheerleaders made the sign, and I was told wrong. I'll just put it that way. It's the Rebel-ettes, who is led by Jody. She told me how to pronounce her last name. McElligott, I believe it is. McElligott, Jody McElligott. They just had one that we were unable to get the team come back early. I believe it said eat them up as leftovers. Well, that's what they're doing. Is they're on top 20-0 over the El Paso Andress Eagles. And the Eagles will be kicking off to the Rebels. As you can hear in the background, pointed directly at us is the Midland League band. And I can hardly hear myself think.
They're usually down in the end zone or off to the right, but they're right in front right now, and get these fans fired up for the second half of action.
I believe this is the first time we have seen any kind of kickoff from the Eagles. In fact, it is at 20-0. And there it is. There's a kick coming down to Ty Chambers at about the 10-yard line. As he squeezes through and he gets across the 30-yard line, fumbled on a play. The Eagles didn't think they have it, and they do have it. The first turnover by the Lee Rebels of the ball game. It is on a kickoff starting off the second half of play.
Not exactly the way you want to start off on the Andress side, or rather for the Lee side, I should say.
That was the first time that the Eagle fans have had something really to cheer about. So first down at 10 for the El Paso Andress Eagles. Sal Sanchez is still the quarterback for the Eagles. High formation directly behind him. And also starting off the first half of the second half play is our very first penalty.
Probably a motion penalty right here.
We had a penalty-free first half. No turnovers by the Rebels. Now all of a sudden we have turnovers. The illegal procedure called against the Eagles. That'll march them back if the Rebels decide to take the penalty.
I imagine they will at this point with Andress being so much into Lee territory, and that's exactly what the Rebels are going to do.
It'll be 5 yards. That puts the ball back at about the 37-yard line of the Rebels. So first down at 15 now for the Eagles. Like I said, no turnovers by the Rebels first half. No penalties by either team on the first half. We start off with right off the bat with a turnover and a penalty. Sanchez handing the ball off to Ray Mitkins. Mitkins gets up to about the original line of scrimmage, and another penalty.
Another flag. It came from the far side of the field. Guess what? Another motion penalty.
Against the Eagles.
We just heard the Baylor-Texas score, folks. You will know what happened by the time you see this broadcast tonight, but the few moans and groans in the Lee stands.
That backs them up 5 more yards to make it first down and 20 as the ball is now back to about the 42-yard line of the Rebels. Dare I say it again, we had no turnovers in the first half and no penalties. Every time I've said it so far, there's been a penalty on the field of play.
Right here.
And again, I said it again. I'm going to quit saying it this time, as there was another penalty.
The officials just want to make things a little bit interesting. Something we do want to correct here. Lee did lose a fumble last play of the first half. Ferris Stramler ran the ball, and now I remember that. He did lose the ball. Actually, clock was out when the play ended, so.
Our official, John Bossy here, is saying what is happening is if we could get maybe a close-up view of this on this next play from our producer and director down in the truck. It looks like the center is moving the ball. The center of the line is moving. The center of the line is moving. Sanchez waiting on the officials now to put the ball back into play. And we get away free this time. Mitkins, the ball carrier, and he's got some running room. He crosses the 20. He's down to the 10, and there it is. Touchdown, El Paso. Ray Mitkins, the ball carrier.
making things a little bit interesting. 47-yard run right there for Ray Mickens. And Mr. Mickens found himself some daylight about 10 yards into that run, and he was gone after that. Lee secondary got to wake up a little bit.
Well, we were talking about going in at halftime and talking to the different coaches, talking to their teams. There's a kick. It's good. That put 7 points up on the board for El Paso Andress.
El Paso Andress fans finally have something to cheer about as their team is onto the board right now. And I'm sure Earl Miller and company have got to be talking with the defense.
Steve Guardardo is the place kicker also for, and field goal kicker for the Eagles. Now the band on the far side of the Eagles get to play their fight song.
First time really they've had a chance to do such this afternoon.
11:04 left to go, third quarter of play of this 5A ball game, playoff ball game. Ty Chambers.
White line.
No, it's not Ty Chambers back. We'll get those gentlemen's numbers here in a minute. Steve Guardardo.
Back there deep for the Rebel. B.J. Parrish and Ferris Strambler. They're the two that are back. Andress guy counting his players. You know, you have to have a kicker that can count to 11. If he can count to 11, he can be a kicker.
This is exactly what Jerry Millsaps, athletic director for El Paso School District, was talking about. He said they came out last week just like this. He said they came out and they were just blowing, I forget now who it was they were playing. It was a Esleda team, Esleda School District team, but they were blowing them away. But then they started making mistakes, having the fumbles. And that's what cost them the ball game at the very beginning of the ball game. They said they come back at the end of the ball game and was able to then pick it back up. But the first of the ball game, just mistakes was killing them. Ferris Strambler has the ball as he comes right straight back up to the middle, crosses the 25-yard line, and there he stopped at about the 26, so first down and 10 for the Lee Rebels.
One thing I can't get the El Paso sideline trying to perk things up right now. The assistant coach is trying to get trying to get his players and the visiting team's fans revved up here, and they've had something to be revved up about here as the Rebels come out a little flat to start the third quarter. That is the defense, and now it's the offense's turn to try to get the momentum back.
First down and 10 for Lee Rebels as the ball is at the 26-yard line of the Rebels. Vince Henderson sends two men wide to the left. Strambler alone back. He takes the ball, goes back up to the middle. Gets up close to the 40-yard line. He does have enough for a first down. Mike Chappell in on the stop for the Eagles. First and 10 for the Rebels as they place the ball at about the 39-yard line.
Ferris Strambler with 27 touchdowns on the season, and that is a lot of touchdowns running the football.
At 28 now with that one he had earlier. I formation. Dirk Kubicek, the ball carrier. Penalty. No, right, a fumble. And the Eagles have recovered. Now, talk about busting your bubble and making those mistakes. Jason Belmont and Max Smith in on the tackle that helped break the ball loose.
Dan Tom Watley talked about this last week. Early on, the Rebels made a lot of mental mistakes, and now the Rebels are making them in the second half of this ball game. Dan Tom Watley, I'm sure, would like to see a complete game out of his Rebels offense, and so far, this second half, Rebels have kept their game in the locker room.
Sanchez, the quarterback, I formation, man in the slot on the left. Handoff, second man through, Ray Mickens, and he is just drilled backwards. Enrico Columbus, 180-pound senior, hitting Mickens straight up and just pushed him back. About a half-yard loss on the play. We'll call it second down and a long 10 from about the 37, 38-yard line.
That defense has got to get it going right now for the Rebels. They've got to stop this momentum, and when you get in a playoff game like this, just a little burst of momentum can really turn things around. And right now there is that burst. Andress is going to take a timeout to talk things over on the far side with head coach Alan Sepkowitz.
Once again, I'd like to remind you, as you're watching the playback of this game, most everyone is aware of when and where the next playoff game will take place. And even if you're not, you can count on seeing the tape delay broadcast of that game next weekend, KOSA TV Channel 7. Your only station for complete coverage of the 5A high school playoff season. 10:03 left to go. The cheerleaders come on this side trying to get these Midland Rebel fans going as their team starting to make a few mental mistakes here to start off the second half.
Needless to say, this particular action right now has got the Lee fans' attention. It's got ours, too.
Jesse Abram comes wide to the right. Wishbone behind Sanchez. Waiting for the officials to put the ball into play. 10:03 left to go, third quarter of play for this 5A playoff game. And it's an end-around run as Abrams comes back around to the left, takes the ball, crosses over to 30. Jason Sieber there to meet him. It's going to be awful close for a first down.
One of those plays where you get a lot or you don't get much at all, and the Eagles trying a little trickery here, trying to make things interesting. They have already.
About a half a yard shy of the first down. Third down for the Eagles. Ball at about the 27-yard line. There's enough for the first down as Bickens takes the ball and just dives over the line. Gets up close to the 25-yard line. Derek Turner making sure that that's as far as he goes. So first down and 10 for the Eagles from the Rebel 25-yard line.
Derek Turner, the outside linebacker there on that play. Derek, 170-pound junior, the only junior amongst that starting bunch for the Lee defense, the regular starting linebacking corps.
Sanchez brings his Eagles up to the line. Mickens takes it, goes straight up to the middle, crosses over the left side up close to the 20-yard line. He gets about 4 yards, so second down and about 6. Enrico Columbus in on the stop. 8 minutes and 50 seconds left to go, third quarter of play. Benny Jones, defensive captain. Mickens over the right side, crosses over to 15, up close to the 10-yard line. It's going to be plenty enough for another first down. Ty Chambers in on the stop. So the Eagles, Doug, are just kind of nickel and diming them, the Rebels to death. Just kind of having their way with them.
Really, the Eagles haven't really, just from initial looks, haven't done a whole lot different from what they did in the first half. Things seem to be working right now. Mickens with a good ball game running, 13 carries, 116 yards.
You saw the Rebel fans just kind of sitting on their hands right now. Not a whole lot to yell about. Ball carrier, number 25, Percy Davis, as he has flipped over backwards. Roy Malagoza in on the stop. They give him about 3 yards on the play, so second down and 7 now for the Eagles. Ball's at about the 9-yard line of the Rebels. They can get a first down without getting a touchdown, but it will be awful close. Mike Berryhill comes wide to the right, I formation. Play fake, he rolls to his left, now he just throws it into the ground in front of the intended receiver. Clifton Wright. Third down and 7 now for the Eagles from the Rebel 9-yard line.
I think the crowd will tell you a lot about what happens on this play as they are on their feet.
Jesse Abrams goes wide to the right, man in the slot, I formation, handoff, first man through, Clifton Wright. As he only gets a couple of yards, up to about the 5-yard line, not quite at the 5-yard line.
Looks like they are going to try the field goal right here as the tee has come onto the field.
Steve Guardado will try the field goal.
Of course, you can use the tee in high school football. In college now you can't, as has been in the pros a long time.
Chris Spates is the holder. Wally Terrazes will snap it. There's snap. The hold. The kick is up, and it is good. So the Eagles have come back with 6:58 left to go in the third quarter of play. The Lee Rebels on top 20-10. We'll be back right after these messages.
This is the brain activity of a normal 14-year-old. So is this after smoking marijuana.
Joe and Pat Henderson want to remind all of us that as parents and teachers, we have a tremendous responsibility to educate our children to the dangers of drugs. Remember, you can't be a hit when you're high. Say yes to life and no to drugs. Joe and Pat Henderson, supporting the Rebels and our community.
Everyone knows that Gov stations are becoming Chevron. There are new, bright Chevron signs going up and new uniforms going on. Even though we have new signs, paint, and uniforms, we will be continuing with the high-quality Chevron products and friendly service that our customers have become accustomed to. Let's go get them. Yeah! Look, Dad, there's one uniform left.
Well.
You don't mean...
That's right. I'm E. Henston, your son.
Airmaster Equipment Corporation, your Permian Basin master distributor for Ingersoll Rand and John Deere. The Ingersoll Rand Type 30 is recognized as one of the most reliable air compressors of its type in the world, with over 3 million units in service. Used in plants, both manufacturing and processing, engine starting air, instrument air shop, and utility air, tire and body shop. This is why they are known as the Permian Basin Air Force.
Pecos Country has a strong economic base and a lot of different industries. Pennzoil Sulfur is one of the largest sulfur mining plants in the world. It's pumping over $12 million a year into the local payroll. Then the vast supplies of natural gas and oil contribute to the bright outlook, along with the Smithers Tire Testing Plant and the numerous agribusiness companies, all on hand for the long haul and going and growing every day.
Enron Corp, working natural wonders in the energy world.
That scoring drive for El Paso took 3 minutes and 37 seconds off the clock. It went for 9 plays, 37 yards, 24-yard field goal from Steve Guardado, and it all accumulated from a fumble by Lee at the 37-yard line. 6:58 left to go, third quarter of play, as Guardado gets ready to kick off once again. Good kick. Coming down to number 25 at the 5-yard line. B.J. Parrish receiving the kick of Guardado. He gets it back up to about the 25-yard line. So let's see what Lee can do now, Doug. See if they can get the, could you say the overconfidence was setting in with a 20-0 lead going in at halftime?
I think it might have been perhaps, but I'm sure this drive has gotten the Rebels' attention. It's certainly got the bench's attention. They are some of the guys standing up on top of that Rebels bench. And Vince Henderson and Vera Scrambler and company have got to get that ball moving.
Henderson, a quarterback, one lone man. Scrambler hands it right straight up to the middle, and he just fights and claws his way across the 30. Gets up to about the 33-yard line before Ray Mickens and Mike Chappell bring him down. Tell you what, for Andress' sake, we have said Ray Mickens' name, that young man's name, quite a few times this afternoon.
He plays both ways. He's, of course, the quarterback on defense, and he's been running the ball very well on offense now with about 115 yards on the game.
Scrambler off the right guard. Gets up to about the 38-yard line. It's enough for a first down for the Rebels. First and 10, Midland Lee.
Get a look at the Lee crowd, some concerned Lee Rebels. They have to be concerned with this turnaround by Andress, but Lee can get the momentum back here, I would say, if they do score the touchdown.
High formation directly behind Henderson. As Henderson now keeps the ball, it crosses, and a penalty now goes down. Hold everything. May have to bring this one back.
I think we're going to have a hold right here on the Lee Rebels. And the Lee Rebels offense really not that crisp right now. I was talking to some people downstairs at halftime, and this general perception up here that for the whole ball game that Lee has not been overly crisp on offense, and now it looks like maybe the mistakes are catching up with the Rebs.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Doug. We had a penalty-free first half. You could, if this had started off the game, you could have said this was playoff jitters. But they've already got the first half over with. I don't understand how come all of a sudden now we're starting to have all of these penalties in the ball game.
Man, Tom Watley talked about it last week, mental mistakes, and we're seeing some of that physical and mental, I guess, out here this afternoon here in the third quarter.
First down and 20 for the Midland Lee Rebels. That backs everything up. 6 minutes and 1 second left to go in the third quarter of play in this 5A playoff ball game. 22-10 is our score. The Midland Lee Rebels on top. John Bias comes wide to the left. Stramler back up to the middle. He crosses the 30, gets up to about the 32-yard line. About 4 yards on the play. Second down now for the Rebels. They get second down at about 17 for the Lee Rebels. Jason Seaver bringing in a play from Coach Earl Miller and his coaching staff. That sends him wide to the right. Anthony Sims comes to the left. Man in motion. Play fake. Anderson fires, intercepted. Mike Chappell intercepting the ball of Vince Henderson, and he gets it back up to about the 10-yard line.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, has momentum swung here, Mike, or has momentum swung at far sideline? A very happy group of campers right now, and 32-yard return that time for Chappell.
If you could only hear and see what's going on in the booth next to us with the El Paso Eagles coaches, they're very excited. Sal Sanchez, the quarterback. I formation. Pitch back to Mickens. Mickens come around his left side. He is dropped. He fumbles the ball, but he recovers his own fumble. Loses yardage on the play. 5 minutes and counting. The third quarter of play. Loses 2, so second down and 12 now for the Eagles. And once again, they can't get a first down without getting a touchdown. Just a little over a yard away from the goal line. Sanchez takes, he throws it, he is dropped. And now they're asking for intentional grounding. The Lee fans think that he should be called for it. He was in the grasp.
Definitely have to look at that one. I'm telling you, that there was nobody anywhere near where that football was thrown.
But referee Tom Rogers didn't see it that way. There was a man in the general vicinity. However, it was 2 Lee Rebels hanging all over him. Sanchez again goes back, fires, got his man. And that's another touchdown, Mickens.
And this Lee crowd is definitely in shock right now. The El Paso side is very, very happy, as you can expect. Ray Mickens playing a very fine ball game, catching that touchdown pass. And can you believe it?
Steve Guardado had to try the extra point. Chris Bates, the holder, snap, it's up, and no good. Oh my, that's no good. That could be the telltale sign of this ball game. Go ahead, Doug.
I was just going to say, that leads it on a 4-point ball game. You cut it to 3. Field goal can tie it. Now, in case we get a nice, tight defensive ball game the rest of the way, Andress has got to score a touchdown to win it.
That scoring drive took 3 plays, 10 yards. Only 42 seconds off the clock with a 13-yard pass. But it came after an interception and a 32-yard return from the Lee Rebels, and their last touchdown was after the fumble recovery. So mistakes are costing the Rebels the ball game. B.J. Parrish and Ferris Stempler back to receive the punt, or the kickoff rather, of Steve Worthardo. 20-16 is our score. The Rebels on top. 4:34 left to go, third quarter of play. As the Midland fans just kind of in a stun. But across the way, the Eagle fans have got a lot to yell about. B.J. Parrish takes the ball at his own 5-yard line, comes straight up the middle, got a little running room, gets up close to the 25-yard line. Well, so Doug, now what do? You've got 1st and 10 at your own 24-yard line. You've made some mental mistakes.
I think this is gut check time for the Lee Rebels. We're going to see a lot of what they're made of right here. Obviously, they've let El Paso Andress back into this football game, and now it's the Rebels' offense turn to try to turn this thing around and get that momentum back. Little by little, Andress has come back into this football game.
Anthony Sims comes wide to the left. Man in motion, handoff, Stambler, he cuts to his left. He breaks one tackle. And he only gets about a yard out of that as he runs east and west a lot. Mike Chappell in on the stop.
One little fact to point out about Lee earlier this year now, Mike, these two teams met. The score was 17-0 at the half. The ball game ended that way. Lee in the second half really didn't play that well, and now we're seeing a case of it so far here in this ball game.
2nd down and 9, ball at the 25-yard line. Stambler cuts over the right side, and once again, he only gets about 2 yards before he is stopped. Isaiah Gordon, 185-pound senior from Andress, in on the stop. Timeout, official timeout. We have an injured Eagle on the ground.
While he is being attended to, can't quite see who he is at this point, but another thing I was going to mention about Lee. Now, Lee, when they played Midland High earlier this year, Lee had a big lead at the halftime. Midland High jumped back into the ball game, and Lee wound up hanging on to win it 32-27. So these kind of second half performances, if you're a Lee backer, unfortunately, are not all that uncommon.
So far in this quarter, the Lee Rebels on 3rd down conversions are only 1 of 4.
Gilbert Ramirez is the injured Andress player. He's trotting off, as you see right there.
All 220 pounds of him, and he's only a sophomore. There you kind of see the dejected faces of the Lee Rebels as they slowly but surely are losing their grip in this ball game. 20-16 is our score. The Rebels on top. Vince Henderson sends 2 men wide to the left. 1 low man, Stripper, behind him. He just steps back 2, and now he rolls to his right. Nowhere to go, and everyone covered. Now he just unloads it. Man wide open, and he's got it.
Ho-ho!
Greg Rich. Oh, my.
Was he open or was he open?
Hold everything. Back it up. Back it up. There's a flag on the play. He may have been past the line of scrimmage, and that's what the official is saying.
A 51-yard pass play is going to go by the boards.
Wipe it off the books.
Oh, boy.
My, oh, my. What else could go wrong?
And Andress on that sideline's got to be saying, boy, we left him wide open, and they've got to be breathing a sigh of relief. Little unhappiness on that Lee sideline right now. I bet you can fry an egg on Coach Van Tom Watley's head.
Henderson just not quite watching where he was as he crossed the line of scrimmage. That's also a loss of down. 3:15 left to go. Third quarter play, 4th down and 9 now for the Lee Rebels as they're going to force them to punt the ball away. Jason Abram back to receive the punt. Low line drive punt. Hits. Now he takes it. Oh, he said he called. I didn't see anything about a fair catch called.
There was a fair catch.
There was a fair catch called. I was watching the ball. I wasn't watching the player. But that's first down and 10 for the Eagles from their own 38-yard line.
Gut check time for the Rebels defense. Even the Rebel players are trying to urge on these fans right now.
And that brings them to their feet. Two men wide to the left. Pitch back. Quindell Roberts, the ball carrier, as he gets up across the 40-yard line. Roberts a little overzealous there, brought down by Steve Ruckman.
We haven't heard Steve's name too much today.
2-yard gain on a play. Second down and 8 now for the Eagles. Abrams comes wide to the right and slot on the right side. Quick pitch over the middle, caught by the Eagles, gets up to the 50-yard line. And that was Tyrus Doctor, Doug, who caught the ball. So they're using him very sporadic. No huddle. Go into with a hurry-up offense. Sanchez hauling the play out to his players. Now he steps in behind the center. Drops straight back. Fires. Doctor's got it in and out of his hands.
I think Doctor heard footsteps on that one.
Randy Brown defending upon the play. He got to Doctor about the same time the ball did. Second down and 10 from right about the 50-yard line. Those are the ball just touching the 50-yard line. 2:21. Have to go third quarter of play. That's Mike Berryhill. It's wide to the right. Delay handoff and stop nail. Percy Davis is hit. Roy Melgosa in on a stop. He put off 240 pounds. About a yard loss on a play. Second down and 11, or third down 11 rather. Timeout called, official timeout. We have a Rebel down.
That's Benny Jones. He injured that ankle last week, and he is down one more time. I don't think it's necessarily the ankle this time. Lee's sideline looking very, very concerned. They could ill afford to lose Benny Jones. Benny, of course, one of the captains on the Rebels, one of the mainstays on the Rebels defense, and it looks kind of like the right knee, and that does not sound or look good right now. James Allen, the Lee trainer, out taking a look at Benny Jones, the 180-pound senior.
2:05 left to go in the third quarter of play. The Rebels on top, 22-16, just barely. Of course, that extra point a while ago may have saved their life. We won't know until the end of this ball game if they could have tied it up. Of course, I'm not sure what the first downs and penetrations are if it was a tied ball game.
Benny Jones is getting up, as you see, and that is certainly a good sign, but he's going to obviously be helped off the field right here. Putting the helmet back on.
He will have to come out for at least one play. But the way he's limping, he's going to be out for quite some time.
He's favoring that right knee.
It's a good hand from the Rebel fans.
Benny's acting like he doesn't want to come out.
To go back in.
That means Derek Turner's going to move to the middle linebacker spot. Big play here. Third down and 11. The fans telling the story right now.
Sanchez sends Abrams wide to the right. In the slot is Robert Jones on the right side. Split backfield. Play fake. He's looking long, and he fires long. Tyrus Doctor, the intended receiver, broken up by Jason Seaver.
Fine play that time by Jason Seaver, knocking that ball up in the air. And now on fourth down, defense does hold, and Andress is going to punt this football away. But then again, watch out for the fake. The way this third quarter's going.
Ty Chambers back to receive the punt. He's standing at about his own 10-yard line. 1 minute, 54 seconds left to go, third quarter of play. And he does get the ball away. High kick. It comes down to 20-yard line. Fair catch called there by number 88. John Valles for the Lee Rebels. So one more time for the Lee Rebels as they try to get something going here. They have just not been able to do anything except for the 51-yard pass when Henderson crossed the line of scrimmage. And that's been about it. They've kind of more or less kept Stramler down to just a couple of yards every time.
I'd like to see some numbers on him for this third quarter.
Valles comes out to the left. And in motion. Now Stramler's got it. He comes out to his left. Nowhere to go, and he makes his own room. Cuts back to the right, runs into his own man, and then finally drops. He gets up close to the 25-yard line. And hold everything. We have another Rebel down, and this time it is Vince Henderson. Quarterback Vince Henderson down on the ground.
Since the start of the third quarter, Ferris Stramler, 34 yards, 6 carries, which may not look that bad, but there have been a couple of fumbles in there on the Lee Rebel offense as well.
Coming into quarterback for the Rebels is Ty Chambers.
Ty and Vince split time at quarterback last year. Chambers went down early in the season, so now Ty Chambers is going to have to rise to the occasion. Rebels getting banged up in this ball game.
You see the trainers over Henderson. Minute 34 left to go, third quarter of play. The Rebels trying to get something going. Second down and 5.
Overall, the Rebels have been pretty lucky when it comes to injuries this year, except for the last week or so. I was talking with James Allen, the Lee trainer, earlier this week, and he feels pretty fortunate as compared to past years, but today certainly hasn't been too kind, nor was last Saturday.
Coach Bull also out on the field checking out his player. Good look at the Rebel fans as Henderson gets up. Looks like he's okay.
I think he just got his bell rung.
That's what I was going to say. The proverbial bell ringing.
Quarterbacks get those a time or two at least a year.
So here we go. Ty Chambers, the quarterback. Stramler, lone man directly behind him. He sends 2 men wide to the right. Handoff, Stramler. He cuts to his right. He's got some room. Now he's wrapped up. Larry Scallion grabbed him just as he just about got hold of the football. He may have gotten about a yard on the play.
Keeping a close eye on that sideline. Vince Henderson is going to come back into the ball game. Ty Chambers will come out as you hear the applause from the Lee fans, more like an applause sigh of relief, if you would.
Third down and 4 for the Lee Rebels. Anthony Sims comes wide to the left. I formation. Play fake. He's got Rich wide open. Rich has got the ball, crosses the 50, and gets up to the 40-yard line. He stays down to the 41-yard line. Great pass play. That's what they were doing just a few plays ago. Larry Scallion in on the stop. But that's the play they were looking for when they got the 51-yard play, Doug.
As that particular time, that was simply pretty by Greg Rich. You know, not a typical tight end. He will go long, and that time he certainly did. And the Rebels now on the move and in some decent field position for the first time this second half.
Rebels looking for that one little more what they call insurance touchdown to make sure that they would have to have a touchdown or 2 touchdowns to beat them. And Henderson keeps the ball. Nowhere to go as he gets across the 40. He gets about 3 yards on the play. We'll call it second down and 7 now for the Rebels. Right now, a field goal would not do it for the Eagles as they would have to have a touchdown. But if the Rebels can get another touchdown as the clock is winding down now, and that will end it for the third quarter of play on this 5A playoff football game. The Midland Lee Rebels 20 and the El Paso Andress Eagles 16. Doug, what kind of a fourth quarter do you anticipate?
I think it's going to be a very wild fourth quarter as we see the teams moving down the end of the field. Lee fans certainly into it now.
Everybody's doing it. Besides, I can handle it. It just helps me get through. I mean, I'm not drunk all the time. They all think something's wrong with me. They don't understand. I don't want to live like this anymore.
You can stop the ride. Call Clearview Hospital. 1-800-592-LIFE.
Channel 7 News for the Permian Basin. The Channel 7 News team covers the Permian Basin every day, working out of the studios in Odessa or the studios in Midland. The news team works to keep you informed of the events and facts that affect your life. Channel 7 News is not out having a street dance or a Monday night party, and no one's been on a hayride for years. Accurate, factual news from the only station with facilities in both Midland and Odessa. Channel 7 News. We do it the old-fashioned way. We work for you.
Hi, folks. Are you enjoying the show? Why don't you get off the couch and come on over to Elmore Chrysler. You know, Elmore in Big Spring is the #1 Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Eagle dealer between Dallas and El Paso. And the best used cars are sold where the most new cars are sold. We're having a sale right here at the holiday season. This is an '82 Datsun King Cab, 46,000 miles, automatic, air, AM, FM, lots of extras, just $39.88. Come on over. We're open till 9 o'clock tonight.
Elmore in Big Spring.
Timber Sharp Drilling Incorporated supports the Rebels and wants to congratulate everyone on a job well done. Timber Sharp also wants to salute all our children who have said no to drugs. You're a prime example to others, so keep up the good work. Say yes to life and no to drugs. Timber Sharp Drilling, supporting the Rebels and our community.
Nakona Patchwork Ostrich, an exclusive designer collection from Woods Boots. Nakona Ostrich, another Christmas idea from Woods Boots, located adjacent to the Permian Mall, now open Sundays through Christmas.
Woods Boots, the most walked about boots in Texas.
The Rebel flag flying high. Midland Memorial Stadium, welcome back to the fourth and final quarter of this 5A playoff game as the Rebel fans and the Eagle fans across the way come up on their feet.
This is playoff atmosphere, Mike, no doubt about it. This is something you love to see.
Stramler, right strap in the middle, got some running room, crosses the 30. That's enough for the first down as he gets up close to the 26, 27-yard line. So first down and 10 for the Lee Rebels from the Eagle 26-yard line. Moving inside that line. Stramler back up the middle. He crosses the 25, gets up to about the 23-yard line.
Right now, the Rebels obviously need to get some kind of points right here, preferably a touchdown, grab some of this momentum back and put it back up to a 9 or 10 point ball game.
Second down and 6 for the Lee Rebels. One man sent wide to the right. Man in the slot. Stramler right back up the middle. I believe I know what Coach Earl Miller and everybody is doing is that they're going with the people that got up there. That front line and Ferris Stramler stop the throwing of the interception.
You're certainly right there, Mike. Before we get a big third down play, some quick stats at the end of the third quarter. Lee leading in total yardage, 224 to 156. Lee up 104 to 65 in the passing department. El Paso Andress putting some yards on the board in the third quarter. Lee with 328 total yards. Andress with 221. Lee 6 of 10 passing. Andress 6 of 19. Take it away, Mike.
Is this a big play or what? This will determine everything right here. Man in motion, handoff, Ferris Stramler. He comes right, and does he get the first down? Yes, he does. But hold everything. There's another flag on the play, and that's Wade.
Not really sure what
the flag laying down at the 20-yard line on the far side. Offsides against the Eagles.
And that's a big break for the Lee Rebels because that gives the Lee Rebels a first down.
They're probably going to turn it down as he got the first down, and it wouldn't give them that much more.
It'd be about 5 yards either way, I think, Mike. Or actually, the 7-yard pickup, so 5 would have been for the penalty. They'll take the yardage.
No, they turned it down. The first down and 10 now for the Lee Rebels, as it didn't make any difference one way or the other. They got the first down. That's what they needed to do, to run some time off the clock. Also, if they can only get a field goal, then it would have to be a touchdown for the Eagles to tie the ball game up. Stramler to the right, jumps over one man, not able to do it as he gets up to about the 8-yard line. Mike Chappell, the touchdown-saving tackle, as Stramler tried to go over the top of him. John Fias comes out of the ball game. Jason Seaver brings the play in from Coach Earl Miller. That sends him to slot to the left. Anthony Sims wide to the left. Ferris Stramler to one lone back. Man in motion. Pitch back Stramler to the right side. As he crosses up, it gets over and touchdown Rebels.
Lee Rebels definitely needed that touchdown, as you see a much more relaxed Lee sideline after that particular play. Ferris Stramler, once again, the bread and butter, getting the call, and Rebels now can go up 27-16, pending the extra point from Art Donnelly.
Ty Chambers will hold. There's the kick, it's up, and it is good. 9:36 left to go in this ball game. Our score, the Midland Rebels 27 and the El Paso Eagles 16. Do you think that they heard the knocking on the door a while ago, Doug?
I'm sure the footsteps were loud and clear over on the Lee sideline, and I'd like to be a mouse to hear what exactly was said down on those sidelines. As I'll tell you what, that definite deal was definitely a momentum builder in the ballgame. 10 plays, 80 yards on that drive. Rebels eat up 4:10 off the clock. Ferris Stramler, the 8-yard run to cap things off for Lee. Of course, a key play on that one. Greg Rich catching the 32-yard pass from Vince Henderson on 3rd down and 4. The Rebels were at their own 26 at the time. So now with 9:36 to go in the ball game, the Lee Rebels have got command of the ballgame one more time. Now the defense has got to turn around and show it can have command as well.
Well, the injury situation may be playing havoc on them at this time. That's what you were talking about earlier on in the game, if they can keep up with it. The doctor is back, standing at about his own 4-yard line, waiting for the kickoff from Arthur Donnelly at the 40-yard line. 9:36 left to go in this 5A playoff game. 27-16, Lee just scoring. There's a kick. And it's coming down to Doctor at about his own 10-yard line. He comes down the right side, got a little bit of running room, crosses over the 25 and gets up and pushed out of bounds at about the 30-yard line. Tyrus Doctor, we weren't expecting to see that much of him as he was injured earlier on into the season, Doug.
Certainly the case. Tyrus with some nice moves there. Guess who got the tackle on that play? Arthur Donnelly, the kicker, and that's quite interesting on that run of return of 21 yards. Not too many times you see the kicker get in there and mix it up. And
there wasn't a bounty on him, was there, or anything like that?
No battle or anything necessarily, but nevertheless, he's not afraid. He's not ducking anybody.
Sal Sanchez remains the quarterback for the Andress Eagles. It looks like the way he's looking, he had people in the wrong spot. Now he fires on the right side to the Doctor, and it hits him right in the number and drops as he has number 5. That stops the clock with 9:26 left to go in this ball game.
You look the ball in, you catch it, then you run with it. The Doctor had him a little mixed up that time.
Now, if you looked real closely, you can see he took a little look up the field right before the ball got there. Jesse Abram wide to the left. Ball intended for Mickens. Defending on the play, number 85 for the Lee Rebels, Steve Ruckman.
Rebels put on quite a rush that time. And obviously that forced Sanchez to rush that football. He was definitely pressured. Now it's going to be interesting to see what we have here on 3rd down and 10.
Sanchez sends Berryhill wide to the left. Play fake He's looking deep. He fires. He's got the doctor, and he was way over his head. Jason Seaver defending on a play. So, as you said a while ago, Doug, the defense rose to the occasion.
It's kind of contagious. When you get the momentum, it is contagious. The offense, a little slow getting it back. They do get it going, get the good, long, sustained drive, and not necessarily a long play drive in terms of the clock, but now the defense has got it going, and the Rebels are back into control with just over 9 minutes to go.
You saw Coach Earl Miller. Steve Guardado punts, high kick. Ty Chambers, fair catch at the 43-yard line. So first down and 10 for the Lee Rebels from their own 43-yard line. $9-10 left to go in this ball game. Jason Seaver coming into the ball game. John Vai is out. Vince Henderson, he is still the quarterback for the Lee Rebels. Anthony Sims comes wide to the right. Man in motion, play fake. Henderson looking deep, fires way over the head of the intended receiver, Jason Seaver.
There you see Benny Jones on the Rebels bench getting ice on that right knee, and that's not a good sign at all. Hurt the ankle last week. Now it's a knee problem. And Benny Jones, a very valuable member of this Lee Rebels defense. Of course, the middle linebacker, one of the team's captains. And I'm sure Benny, he's got the helmet on. He looks like he wants to play with that helmet on, but obviously the knee just a little bit too banged up.
Stramler, right straight to the middle, got some running room as he gets up close enough for another first down, and there's where that line just blew a hole wide open for Stramler. He gets up to about the 47-yard line.
Boy, you got to give credit to those guys in the lines. Justin Perkins, Matt Wilson, Casey Jones, Bubba Rayburn, Chris Kosh, all those guys up there just blowing people out, and the Rebels now trying to wear Andress down and eat up that clock as the clock winding down now to 8:50 to go in the ball game.
First down and 10 for the Lee Rebels from the Eagle 47-yard line. Coach Earl Miller, first thing on his mind to happen to win this ball game is get everybody healthy and ready for next week.
Stramler with 32 carries, 225 yards.
Delayed handoff to Stramler as he just pushes Ben away, gets across the 40-yard line. He is finally stopped at about the 39-yard line of the Eagles.
And you can make it about 2:30 now for Ferris Stramler. 33rd carry of the ball game.
As he creeps up upon that record of 298 yards last week, but he's going to have to really hurry to get it this time. Second down and 2.
Ferris averages about 230 yards a game, so he is now right at about his average.
2 men wide to the right. Stramler lone setback. He takes the ball right back up the middle, crosses the 35. Gets up close to about the 33-yard line. Another first down for the Lee Rebels. 7:58 as they stop the clock and move the chains.
Don't forget, after the ball game, we'll be picking out our offensive and defensive players of the game on the Lee side. Going to be interesting picks today, Mike.
First down and 10 from the 33-yard line. Stramler, as he just drags an Eagle player with him, number 83, Oliver Dillon. He stopped him, and then Stramler just drug him on the ground about another 3 yards where he was finally able to stop him.
Ferris Stramler, this is one of his best situations, eating up time on the clock and just taking over the ball game with that power running of his.
Second down and 3. Stramler back up to the middle, crosses over the right side, gets up close to the 20, and plenty for another first down. Oliver Dillon once again in on the stop. So now the Rebels are starting to do what the Eagles did to them earlier, is nickel and dime them to death.
I'm sure Earl Miller not all that pleased on the Lee sideline. I'm sure he would like to put not just a couple of points, not just one touchdown on the board at this point.
That's what Coach Earl Miller wants to do right now. 3 yards here, 4 yards there. Just keep the clock going and keep going down the field. Pitch back, Stramler comes to the right side, gets up to the 15-yard line.
And what a pitch that time by Vince Henderson. I mean, he was about to be popped, and he did get popped. He is up around and okay, but pitched that ball just in time to Ferris Stramler.
That's what causes all that gray hair on coaches. .6:28 and counting to end this ball game of this 5A playoff with the Midland Lee Rebels and the El Paso Andress Eagles. 2nd down and 2. As Henderson drops straight back, looking for Jason Seaver. It just took a bounce in front of him before he was, and then he caught it.
Vince didn't really get set too well on that football. He was still kind of fading back, didn't get much on that throw at all. He looked like he was kind of coming off the back foot on that particular play.
Another 3rd down situation for the Rebels. The 9th play of this drive is coming up right now. One lone back behind Henderson, and that's Ferris Stramler. Man in motion, pitch back to Stramler. And he runs out to this side. It's hard to tell from our angle if he got the 1st down before he was pushed out of bounds.
I think he got to about the 10-yard line, Mike, and if they spot it right there, he will have the 1st down, and that is the case. Looks like we have a little bit of problem with a cramp right there. Trouble reading the number 78. That's Justin Firkins, one of the offensive linemen, one of the offensive tackles, 220-pound junior on the sidelines. We get back to action.
Anthony Sims and John Bias wide to the left. Stramler right back up to the middle, goes to the right. Crosses, fumble on the play, and they say that the Eagles have recovered.
Big question over whether or not Ferris Stramler's knee was down when he let go of that football. Just from preliminary looks at the whole thing, that is the case, but the officials are now talking it over on the field. One called it Andress ball, and now they're having a little conference.
Well, Stramler has been known that once the play is over, he just releases the ball. He's through, and he doesn't want any more part of it.
Get back to the line.
You know, just get back to the huddle.
The officials in their own little huddle over on the far side just to talk this thing over, and we'll see what the call is right here.
Everybody on their feet staring at the official with the white cap. And now they are saying he was down.
That was the correct call.
That was the correct call. Yes, it was.
And it really takes a lot for an official, you know, to change or should I say correct a mistake, and that's exactly what they did right there. That's good work on the part of the official.
Well, you'll see Stramler go down, his knee is down, and he just lets the ball go. It really wasn't a fumble. He just kind of pitches it out. And the Andress Eagle fell on the ball. But the official ruled it a fumble, but now they have reversed it and said, no, his knee was down. So 6:02 left to go in this ball game. The Rebels get a reprieve.
And that's a big break in this ball game, Mike, because if the Rebels go punch it in from here, Rebels are in pretty good shape.
2nd down and 2. Referees talking to both sides, explaining to all the coaches just what happened. Now they start the clock back up. Sims and Valles wide to the left. Stramler to the right, fights, and he's in. Rebel touchdown. You know, Doug, that's some of the hardest fought 2 yards I've seen Stramler fight in a long time.
Ferris Stramler, he doesn't get all the yards just as being just from his line. That time he fought for some extra ones, and he definitely earned his stripes right there.
You can see the dirt and grass all over him. Arthur Donnie getting ready to try the extra point. Ty Chambers will hold. K.C. Jones, the center. There's a snap. It's down. It's up. And it is good. So at 5:46 left to go in this 5A playoff game. Our score, the Midland Lee Rebels 34, and the El Paso Andress Eagles 16. This is a Channel 7 sports presentation.
Everyone knows that Gov stations are becoming Chevron. There are new, bright Chevron signs going up and new uniforms going on. Even though we have new signs, paint, and uniforms, we will be continuing with the high-quality Chevron products and friendly service that our customers have become accustomed to. Let's go get them. Yeah! Look, Dad, there's one uniform left.
Well.
You don't mean...
That's right. I'm E. Hinston, your son.
Airmaster Equipment Corporation, your Permian Basin master distributor for Ingersoll Rand and John Deere. The Ingersoll Rand Type 30 is recognized as one of the most reliable air compressors of its type in the world, with over 3 million units in service. Used in plants, both manufacturing and processing, engine starting air, instrument air shop and utility air, tire and body shop. This is why they are known as the Permian Basin Air Force. Jim Wafer Oil Company of Pecos, in business for 50 years, as Chevron jobber for Belmarais, Cherry Creek, Pecos, and surrounding area. Chevron, where your business is appreciated, begins in Pecos country with jobber Jim Wafer Oil Company. Call Jerry Patterson or Jim Wafer in Pecos, 915-447-2233. Jim Wafer Oil Company also distributes Pennzoil, Mobil Oil, and propane. And to better serve you, they have a subplant in Belmarais. In Pecos country, for your fuel needs, call Jim Wafer Oil Company, 915-447-2233.
Nothing's going to put a snag in this fishing trip. Not with Delco Voyager batteries on board. Deep cycling to take charge after charge to keep everything humming. We may get skunked, but not marooned. Not with these built-in charge indicators.
Delco Voyager batteries. Deep cycling, maintenance free.
I'd rather catch fish and get caught up a creek.
Welcome back to the final 5 minutes and 46 seconds of this 5A playoff game. The Midland Lee Rebel fans finally having something to cheer about, Doug.
Sigh of relief, definitely. I mean, Andress coming out with a blaze of fire to start the third quarter. It's 20-0, and all of a sudden it becomes 20-16, and a few nervous people around this stadium.
Arthur Donnie to kick it off. I'll give you that lead scoring drive right after this kickoff. Tyrus Doctor back to receive the kick. It comes down to the Doctor as he is about a yard deep in, and he decides and changes his mind and goes down on one knee, so that'll bring the ball out for an automatic touchback to the 20-yard line. That last scoring drive for the Lee Rebels took 3 minutes and 24 seconds off the clock, and that's one thing that the Rebels want to do is take time off that clock. It was 11 plays for 57 yards and capped off by a Scrambler 3-yard run for the touchdown. 34-16 is our score. And it looks like we may be doing another league game next week, Doug.
Looks like certainly that way. Now, should Lee hang on to win, which it certainly looks that way right now, they will play either Arlington Lamar or Sherman next week. We're not sure about the time and the site, but by the time you see this broadcast, you'll know, because we'll tell you on Channel 7 Sports.
And you'll be able to see that game on replay. 5:44 left to go into this ball game. The Eagles have changed quarterbacks. Intercepted by Scott Lucky at the 25-yard line, and he gets up close to the 5-yard line for he is brought down, so Lucky can put one up on his side of the board.
Scott Lucky just stepped up in front of the receiver on that play, gets the interception, and boy, he's got to be a happy man. Some numbers on Ferris Scrambler, 269 yards rushing in the ball game here. El Paso for the ball game, 156 yards rushing, 65 passing, 221 on the total. El Paso Andress averaging about 290 yards a game on offense, so really not a bad output by them, and I'm sure the lead coaches in the next week are going to be working on that defense a little bit more.
Chris Spates was the Eagle quarterback as his intended receiver fell down, and Lucky was able to step up and grab the ball. Anderson, he is still a quarterback for the Rebels as he keeps it himself. Now he cuts back up to the middle. He gets a couple of yards on the play. Seems to be some sort of discussion down in the middle. It's hard to tell from here exactly just what's going on, Doug.
I think there was just a question of whether or not he got into the end zone. I don't think he did. It's also
they showed about a yard short of the end zone.
I would have to say he was about a yard short. But Rebels knocking on the door here again. Just under 5 minutes to go in this football game. Looks like Lee's going to play one more week.
Second down and goal to go from just beyond the 1 yard line for the Rebels as they take their time. They still have a good 19 seconds left to go on the clock before they have to have the play off. I formation directly behind Henderson. Scrambler keeps the ball, and Scrambler can add 2 more yards to his total. As he crosses the goal line, puts another 6 points up on the board for the Lee Rebels. That makes the score now 40-16.
Vince Henderson a little upset down there. Apparently we didn't quite see it all. A little pushing and shoving right there. Vince Henderson got an extracurricular shot, shall we say, after Ferris Strambler crossed the end zone. Of course, our eyes were on Ferris Strambler, but away from the ball, Vince got a shot.
Once again, there's still some conversations going on after each play so far.
Just a little frustration, I'm sure.
On the Eagles' part, 4:36 left to go in this ball game, 40-16, as Arthur Donnelly comes on, tries to put another point up on the board. And it is good. So at 4:36 left to go in this ball game, the Lee Rebels go on top, 41-16 over the Eagles. And that scoring drive took 2 plays and 4 yards, only took 58 seconds off the clock, and it was capitalized by a Strambler 1-yard run. Of course, that's after Lucky's interception, and he returned it back to the 4-yard line. You know, one thing I was really kind of worried about, Doug, when I was reading the paper about this ball game, and the players, what they thought was that they said they want to get to Permian. And it may have been what happened to them a while ago. They're looking too far ahead and not worrying about what's happening right now.
I have to agree with you 100% on that, Mike. An interesting stat just passed to me by our fine stats crew. They've done some fine work today, along with our camera crew as well, our guys down in the truck. This quarter, El Paso Andress, the Eagles with 5 plays. That's all. They've held the ball just 38 seconds. Talk about a turnaround. The Rebels have done just that. This has really been kind of a strange ball game, Mike, when you really break it down, as actually this game's been kind of played in 3 segments. Lee dominating the first half, El Paso Andress dominating the third quarter, and now here in the fourth quarter, the Rebels with 21 points unanswered.
I'd like to thank everyone for helping us out up here today. Our official spotter, or whatever you want to call him, John Bossy, our statistician, Les Blaylock, and our camera crews, Danny Sartain, Brad Williams, and Raul. We can't forget Raul, who is down in the end zone, and of course, our very own producer-director, Mr. John Watts, down in the truck. Arthur Donnelly, once again, ready to kick it off to Tyrus Doctor, and he just boots this one in and out of the end zone. Well, when you get the momentum going, you just get it going, and you're kicking and everything, Doug.
Do you think the Lee Rebels are a little mad about that third quarter comeback? It'll be interesting to see when we go down on the field talking with the Rebel players afterwards what they have to say about this ball game.
Don't forget, we'll be picking the offensive and defensive player of the game for the Midland Lee Rebels. And Doug will go downstairs here shortly and be interviewing those 2 gentlemen. Stick around. I think you'd be interested to know who we have picked so far.
Be interesting to see what they have to say, too.
4:36 left to go in the ball game. Chris Spates is the quarterback for the Eagles. He pitches it back to Ray Mickens, and Mickens just only gets about a yard and a half. They're going to give him 2 yards on play. So 2nd down and 8 for the Eagles from their own 22-yard line. Clock still ticking away. Not fast enough for the Rebels, but too fast for the Eagles.
We have some new players in there for the Lee Rebels. We'll try to pick them off as best we can here.
I formation behind Spates. He sends one man wide to the left. Pitch back to Mickens. He gets up to about the 28, 29-yard line before he is finally brought down. He needed to get for a first down, so call it 3rd down and 2.
Randy Bryce in the game for the Rebels at a defensive end slot. J.J. Johnson, a senior linebacker, into the ball game as well. He wears jersey number 45. Obviously, some more substitutions. Some starters still in there for Coach Earl Miller, as you see him on the sidelines. Still intense.
Mike Berryhill comes wide to the left. Wishbone behind Spates. Hand off to Mickens, and he is dropped. That was Robert Jones, the ball carrier, rather.
J.J. Johnson in there on the tackle that time. Ty Chambers as well. Lee Crowd pretty laid back again after a scare in the 3rd quarter.
About a 2-yard loss on the play, so make it a 4th down situation and 4 for the Eagles. 2:50 and counting, as they will go ahead and apparently punt the ball away. Steve Guardado back to punt. Ty Chambers standing about his own 37-yard line. There's the kick. It's off the right side of his foot. It's right at the 45, and it is downed by an Eagle at the 38-yard line.
And I would imagine at this point that the Lee Rebels will just try to run out this clock. They are going to play next week, as we have just over 2.5 minutes to go in this football game. And we see a bunch of subs in there for the Lee Rebels. New quarterback David Sullivan, a junior. He will direct the Rebels offense. Also at center, Max Stewart, another sophomore.
And man, sent wide to the left there is Arthur Donnelly, as he is in the ball game. Pitch back. Oh my! Ball carrier's Mike Richardson, and we heard the crunch all the way up here at about the 42-yard line, but he somehow snuck out of it and got across the 45. 2nd down. And about 4 yards. They gave him 6 yards on the play.
And Mike, may I be excused? I'm going to go on and head down and talk with some of these Rebel players here. I'm going to try to get out before the crowd gets out.
We'll talk to you in just a little bit, Doug. Handoff to Brooks Baca Jr., and he wiggles his way, gets up across the 50, but hold everything. There's a penalty on the play. Face mask, Eagles. So was it a 5-yard or a 15-yard face mask? We'll just have to wait and see. It was only 5 yards, unintentional, but that's a first down for the Rebels as we see some new players coming in. Mark Jacobs is the new quarterback for the Rebels. The Eagles decide to take a timeout. Talk it over. 1:53 left to go in this ball game. 41-16 is our score. I'd like to remind you to be sure and stick around after the game for our offensive and defensive players of the game for the Midland Lee Rebels. Mark Jacobs is a senior. He's 170 pounds. He will be the quarterback for the Lee Rebels on this last series of downs, apparently. I'd like to remind you that our postgame being brought to you by Friendly Chrysler Plymouth Pontiac for the players of the game, defensive and offensive players. 35, the man going wide to the left for the Rebels is Bo Watson. He is a senior split end, 170 pounds. Coming to the right is Mike Brackens, a sophomore at 150 pounds. Handoff to number 23, Tony White. He is listed as a senior at 170 pounds. He got maybe a yard or two on the play. Clock still ticking down at 1:40. So second down and make it 9 for the Rebels. As people are starting to file out now, they're ready to go to the house. It's been a beautiful day, beautiful afternoon for football. And of course, by the time that you watch this broadcast, you will know when and where the next game will be played. Tony White, the ball carrier again. He did not quite get out of bounds. He was able to stay in, which is good. And now a little more extracurricular activity. Coaches step in, referees all step in, and they stop it. immediately. Little frustration on both sides. Rebels wanting this thing to hurry up and get over with so they can count the win, and the Eagles a little frustrated. They mounted a good comeback. They had a good comeback starting the second half, but it's just like Athletic Director Jerry Millsaps from El Paso said, mistakes will eat them up. And they started making mistakes, and it came to a halt. 59 seconds left to go in this ball game, 41-16. Here's our score. They start the clock now. 2nd down and 6. Mark Jacobs, the quarterback. Fumble picked up, handed to Tony White as he gets back up the middle. Gets a couple of yards on the play. That's what you call a difference between your center and your quarterback. They have to work together. Jacobs comes over, gets the play, runs back in. 25 seconds left to go. And the Midland Rebels can catch themselves once again. Long pass, man, wide open, touchdown. Oh my, Mike Bracken, a sophomore. Well, let's all sit back and let the clock run down. No, I don't believe so. Let's try a long pass and see what happens. About 31 yards from Jacobs to Brackens. Arthur Darmy in to try the extra point. Ty Chambers will hold. There's the snap. It's down. The kick is up. And it is good. 10 seconds left to go. 31-yard touchdown pass from Mark Jacobs to Mike Brackens. That scoring drive took 2 minutes and 23 seconds off the clock. There was 6 plays, went for 61 yards, and once again, as I said, 31-yard touchdown pass. Mike Bracken's a sophomore, showing some potential as the cheerleaders on the side. There you can see the clock, 10 seconds left to go. 48-16 is our score. The shadows of the stadium slowly starting to creep across the field. I'd like to remind you of our offensive and defensive players of the game, brought to you by Friendly Chrysler Pontiac Plymouth. Doug Strickland will have those immediately following the game. Rebel fans on their feet in anticipation of this ball game being over. However, it's all academic from here on out with 10 seconds left to go. Arthur Donnelly. 46 is going to be kicking. They say Todd Mead is a sophomore kicker. I saw the 6 on the side, just took it for granted it was Donnelly. Todd Mead will kick. It's a low line drive. Good kick. Oh, and it bounces around. Doctor, he picks it up at the 5-yard line, carries it in one hand, and he's running around the right side and is drugged down by number 32, Brian Tomlin. Two seconds left to go in this ball game. Like I say, it's academic from here on out. We will see several people in the defense that we're not familiar with. We'll just sit back and let you watch as the fans start the Rebel chant. Chris Spates is the quarterback. Handoff. Back up to the middle to number 44 for the Eagles. And that would be Wayne Tambone. But that's the end of the ball game. With our score, The Midland Lee Rebels 48, the El Paso Andress Eagles 16. Welcome back, everyone, to Midland Memorial Stadium. Our final score, the Midland Lee Rebels 48, El Paso Andress Eagles 16. We'll have some final stats, but first with our friendly Pontiac Chrysler Plymouth offensive and defensive players of the game on the field is Doug Strickland.
Okay, thank you very much, Mike Sneed. Down here on the field, we have our offensive and defensive players of the game for the Lee Rebels. We'll start with the offensive player with quarterback Vince Henderson. Vince had a very fine ball game, throwing and running the football today. Vince, pretty tough ball game, I guess, huh?
Well, yeah, offensively we came out and started off pretty well, but stopped ourselves a couple of times and had to settle for field goals. And first half, all around, we played pretty good, but we stopped ourselves a couple of times. And then halftime, we went in and tried to make a couple of changes and just came out and continued to stop ourselves some more. So it was pretty rough until the end of the game.
Vince, do you think you got a little relaxed at halftime?
I think maybe so. You know, it's hard to say because we've had so many games this year where we've come out flat the second half, and so I just can't see how we would have done that. They just came out playing hard, and we made a couple of offensive mistakes early, second half, and that's what did it.
Now, I know that comeback had to scare you guys quite a bit by Andress.
Oh, definitely. I knew we were in trouble, and defensively we just came out and gutted it out, and just defense gave the offense a chance to come out and do whatever they had to do.
Now you're playing another week. You have to feel good about that.
Oh, definitely. After, last week, the great win last week, and then this week, we don't know who we're going to play next week, but I'm just proud to still be in the playoffs.
Okay, we're proud you're here, too. Vince Henderson, thank you very much for stopping by. Good luck to you next week.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Vince Henderson, our offensive player of the game, and now let's go to our defensive player of the game. He is safety Jason Seaver, who happens to play on the offense as well. Jason, congratulations. How do you feel right now?
Tired. Going both ways is pretty rough, but you work on it in practice, and you just come out and try your best, give it all you got, especially in the playoffs.
Now, they gave you a scare in the third quarter. Were you a little worried?
Oh, yes. I started having recollections of the Midland High game myself. We were flat. Offense couldn't produce. Defense, we were kind of weak on the run and everything, and it was just down. Nobody was really up for the second half. It's just kind of, I guess we thought we had it.
Anything particular you did after that rally by Andress to shut them down? Any adjustments or anything?
No, I think we just finally realized, that, they aren't as bad as we thought they were. They came out, real hard in the second half. They were out to win, and we thought we had it, but we had to put a stop to them right then. That's all we had to do.
So another week in the playoffs. You got to be happy practicing another week. Huh?
Yes, it's great. I mean, last year we didn't go very far into the playoffs and everything, and this year we've already won our first two, and it's just great.
Let's hope we have one more week here. Jason, thanks for stopping by. Congratulations on our Defensive Player of the Game award.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Jason Seaver, our guest here on our post-game show. Again, the final score, the Lee Rebels win their area playoff game over El Paso Andress. The final score, 48-16. Now for a final word on the ball game, let's head back upstairs to my compadre, Mike Sneed. Mike.
Okay, thank you very much, Doug Strickland. Stat-wise, it's about the same as the score, very lopsided, and total yardage for the Midland Lee Rebels, 486 yards. For El Paso, that just doubled El Paso's 232 total yards. On passes attempted and completed, Lee Rebels were 7 for 13 for 1 interception. El Paso 6 for 23 and 1 interception. First downs, Midland Lee had 28 to El Paso's 11. And punts, Midland Lee punted twice for 46 yards average, while El Paso punted 7 times for 33. Penalties virtually coming all in the second half. Midland Lee had 2 penalties for 15 yards, while the Eagles were penalized 4 times for 20 yards. The individual stats, of course, the big runner for the Midland Lee Rebels was Ferris Trembler. He had 41 unofficially for 270 yards. That gives him a total of 2,571 on the year. And for El Paso, Ray Mickens had 16 carries for 120.